is an absolute monster of a lightweight.
What a moment! A history-making goal!
She wasn't going for goal, but she'll happily accept it.
It's gone all the way through, and look at this! Chewinga! Did you dare write Barcelona off?
The career of one of the all-time greats is all but over.
Nice comeback.
Uma oportunidade de dizer alguma coisa que eu acho que nunca disse.
Let's get this party started!
NFL Game Pass is now exclusively on DAZN.
Let's get this thing going.
Watch every game, plus the playoffs and Super Bowl.
To the end zone. What a play!
It's your all-access pass.
That's how you fight a southpaw. Well on his way to coming back.
Katie Taylor does it again. Look at the emotion.
Gentlemen, good evening and welcome.
From the four corners of the world, to the four corners of this ring, the fight starts now!
How do you like it? Off the shoulder. So aggressive, so focused. Look at these two guys.
Still the undisputed champion of the world!
The countdown is nearly over. We are live from Brooklyn, New York, building up to the super lightweight showdown between Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia. But before the main card gets underway here at the fabulous Barclays Center, we have 6 fights for you on an action-packed prelim show. And we welcome you inside the Barclays Center as we count down towards the pay-per-view main event between Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia. Hello, everyone. I am Corey Erdman alongside Akin Barak. Pleased to be calling these prelims for you as we count down towards the highly anticipated main event a little bit later on tonight. Guys, to put it plainly, I think this has been one of the most memorable build-ups to a major fight in recent memory. But in the words of Bernard Hopkins, I'm going to borrow them, the words that he used at the press conference the other day, we have a fight.
No doubt. The wait is over, right? But a lot of questions need to be answered. Was this all part of Ryan Garcia's plan to sell a fight? What was the weight a thing that he already knew to go into this fight comfortable, wanting to be the bigger man tonight? But will that be enough for a guy like Devin Haney, who's been on a rampage and coming off a dominant performance?
I think some of Ryan's antics were premeditated. But I think the real question that nobody's asking is, what do the Haneys think about this? You know, Bill Haney is like being his lawyer saying, oh, don't listen to Ryan. Don't be fooled by Ryan because we know the fighter that's coming in. But I think Devin Haney and the Haneys are like, you know what? I think maybe he's having issues. Maybe he's scared. Maybe he couldn't make weight. We see that he couldn't, and we got him where we want him.
Well, I think Haney has to presume that he's getting the best version of Ryan Garcia here tonight. And ultimately, guys, setting everything that we've seen during the build-up aside, these are still two excellent fighters that are stepping in the ring. Haney is a guy who, if you don't already have him on your pound-for-pound list, he's probably right on the bubble beneath it. And Ryan Garcia is still one of the most dangerous left hook artists in the sport of boxing.
Not only pound for pound, let's talk about star quality. Let's not forget that in the Bay Area, Devin was able to sell out an arena, and he is becoming a star, already is a star. So Ryan Garcia is not the only household name coming into the ring tonight. We got 2 stars.
100%, and I think this place is going to get full. I think we're going to see their star power tonight, and I think we're going to be surprised by being a very competitive fight.
Well, it's not just the main event that we have for you here tonight. We got 9 fights in total, 4 on the pay-per-view portion of our event, and then an additional 6 that we'll be calling for you here on the prelims. As we take a look at tonight's fight card, we'll begin with the main card coming up a little bit later on. Of course, Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia with the WBC super lightweight title on the line. Of course, that title only on the line, in essence, for Devin Haney. If Garcia were to win because of those weight issues, he would not take home that title. Arnold Barboza Jr. back in action, a guy who has been asking for some of those big names at 140. He'll get the co-feature slot tonight against Sean McComb. It's the return of Beck the Bully as he takes on Pierre de Bombay of France, and a WBA super flyweight interim title bout between Scrappy Ramirez and David Jimenez. In addition, it's the Golden Boy debut of one of the prides of Toledo, Ohio, Charles Conwell, as he takes on Nate Gallimar. But coming up on our prelims, we'll begin in just a few moments with Shamir Canal. We'll be taking on Pedro Borgaro, Kevin Newman II, and Eric Robles in cruiserweight action. One of Devin Haney's fighters, Amari Jones, a good friend of Devin Haney, will be taking on Armel Mbumba, who's making his second appearance here on DAZN. Johnny Cañas will be back in action, one of Golden Boy's young prospects, taking on Marcus Bose. Darius Fulgham taking on Christian Olivas, a familiar name here on DAZN as well. And the main event of our prelims, so to speak, Sergey Derevyanchenko will be taking on Vaughn Alexander, a matchup between 2 hard men, to say the very least. But we are ready to get the action underway. And with that, let's send it up to our MC for this evening, Mr. Joe Martinez. The 7-1 Pedro Borgaro makes his way to the ring. We last saw him scoring a 3rd-round TKO victory over the 1-10 Miguel Arguello last November in his hometown of Ciudad Obregón. We also saw him on the undercard of Spence Crawford in his only losing effort to Justin Valoria, back on a major undercard once more. Well, as mentioned, one of the members of Devin Haney's growing stable, Shamar Canal, makes his way to the ring. We saw him on the Haney Prograis undercard, scoring a 6-round unanimous decision victory over Jose Antonio Meza, a 4-time national amateur champion out of Albany, New York, looking to make waves in the featherweight division. Tonight's bout in the super lightweight division. Excited to get another look at Canal here tonight.
He almost scored the knockout in that last decision. Came really close last round.
Introducing to you first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing multicolored trunks, he weighed in officially 135 3/4 pounds. In 8 professional fights, his record stands at 7 victories, 1 defeat, 4 wins coming by way of knockout. Desde Sonora, Mexico, here is Pedro Garcia. And across the ring, his opponent fighting out of the red corner, wearing unique colors, the blue and white. He weighed in 135 pounds. In 7 bouts, this young professional stands perfect with 7 victories, no defeats, 4 wins coming by way of knockout. From Albany, New York, here is the undefeated Shamar, the Boss Canal. And your referee in charge of the action, Ricky Gonzalez.
Las reglas en el camarero, protege todo el tiempo, obedece sus órdenes todo el tiempo. I gave you instructions in the dressing room. I expect a good, clean fight. Protect yourselves at all times and obey my commands at all times. Touch them up.
So we're set to go. Our opening contest in the super lightweight division, Shamar Canal and Pedro Borgaro. And guys, we often use the phrase when it comes to prospects that we see in the ring, growing up before our eyes. We usually mean that in terms of their evolution as a fighter. In terms of Canal, as I mentioned, this is a guy who was thought of as a featherweight prospect, but now he's coming in and looking strong at 135 pounds. It seems like there's almost a window where we could see Canal potentially campaigning. He was also calling out O'Shaquie Foster a couple months ago as well.
Well, there's a big window, and though BoxRec says he's 5'6", he's really like 6 feet. You know, so he has a long way he can go.
He said he's okay with them putting that out there so people are surprised when they see him in the ring. You know, both these guys, as far as their opponents' records, they're pretty similar. You know, I think 10-35 on Shamar Canal's opponents, and 29-44 is Borgaro.
Yeah, but about Pedro's is just a little deceiving because people who fight in Mexico, all his fights are in Mexico. Literally, when he steps foot outside of Mexico, he loses. You know, so I don't get caught up in those kind of numbers.
Yeah, I mean, look, he started boxing at, I think he turned pro at 15 years old. He's boxing for a few years. He's only 18. He has a baby face. The kid looks like he's 12 years old. Still young, decent stance.
He's cutting off the ring kind of nice, you know, for an 18-year-old.
Right hand from Canal a moment ago. Well, to both of your points, guys, I mean, Canal, much like Devin Haney did, the early portions of his pro career were spent in Mexico, building a reputation, building a record down in Mexico, and now starting to make more appearances on American undercards.
Barack, Pedro's only lost one fight, so he's 7-1. He hasn't lost that much out of Mexico.
Well, I think tonight it might be 7. No, but he looks good. He actually looks better than I thought. He looks really good. I see a lot of improvement.
I think Shamar is starting to learn how to use his size. Earlier on, he was fighting smothered and inside and not using that length, but Devin's squad has him using that jab more often.
Canal's been learning on the job in a variety of high-level camps. He's been in there with Luis Alberto Lopez, with Jermaine Ortiz, with Robson Conceição, just doing the circuit of high-level camps to supplement what was an excellent amateur career as well. We mentioned the 4 national amateur championships, 110 and 20 overall as an amateur, but Borgaro right now, he's sneaking in a couple of shots here, guys.
Absolutely. I like what I see from Borgaro. I mean, I love it. I love it when Shamar sticks that jab in his face and then takes that half a step back.
You know, to your point, Corey, like he's
good straight right.
Good straight right hand. Once he started taking boxing serious and less basketball, he thought he was going to be a basketball superstar. Then he said, okay, I'm not going to grow past 5'11", and he took boxing serious.
Final 15 seconds here of round 1. Good test for Shamar Canal at this stage in his career. Pedro Borgaro putting up some resistance here in the early going. as we are underway here at the Barclays Center.
Even though Canal's not from Brooklyn, he's from Albany, New York, so we're claiming him.
It's round 2 underway. Good start for Shamar Canal there in round 1, but as mentioned, Pedro Borgaro doing some decent work in that opening frame as well.
Yeah, I think he was probably winning the beginning half of that round, and then Shamar kind of took it over.
Landed the big shots, the big right hands, gave him that round.
As we mentioned, the only loss on Borgaro's record to this point, a knockout loss at the hands of Justin Gloria on the Spence Crawford undercard.
You say to this point because you see him losing tonight?
To this point.
Listen, Borgaro's already proved me wrong. You know, I really didn't think I was going to see somebody this sharp, this smart. He's trying to pick his shots, really stay away from that jab. And I like his stance. Ooh, that right hand stuck in there for Shamar.
Okay.
Yeah, Borgaro throughout his career has kind of had a little bit of like a playful, awkward style. He likes to use a lot of movement, uses athleticism a little more. He's a little more grounded here tonight. I think certainly in part due to the level of opposition that he's in there against as well. You can't be dancing around quite as much against someone as skilled and as schooled as Canal.
And I'll tell you one thing, Corey, Canal seems more powerful. It goes to show you sometimes you don't have to keep trying to make weight and fight the weight that you're comfortable in. And he seems like he's hurting guys more and just more comfortable in there. He's not draining himself anymore.
Right hand to the body there from Canal.
Shots are doing more damage for sure. But he does have a test in front of him today for sure. See? So he uses that jab, controls the distance.
Good left hand by Borgaro.
But Borgaro snuck that one in there.
Yeah, but Canal brought his right hand right back up to his chin, and he kind of caught that.
Now missing over the top with the right hand. Well, even the threat of that jab is slowing Borgaro down in comparison to how he usually likes to operate. I mean, he's really been slowed down volume-wise here just by that lead hand of Canal.
Yeah, it's just quicker than him. He's beating him to the punch every time.
Right, Canal's controlling the fight because of that jab. And he's even moving towards the power hand, but he's trusting his distance and his speed and that jab.
Now really sunk one of those right hands to the body in a moment ago. That forced Borgaro to take a step back. See if that's a storyline that will continue throughout this fight. And now making some investments to the body, now climbing to the ladder with a nice three-punch combination right before the bell.
Just missed that left hook there. Canal. Still has a live dog in front of him. Got it.
Yeah, Shamar turned it up. He started sitting down on his punches more in this round.
The boss seems like he's in charge as of now, to this point.
Round 3 underway. It's the boss, Shamar Canal, and Pedro Borgaro opening things up for us. Of course, everything leading up to Canal's boss, so to speak. Not so to speak, literally his boss, Devin Haney, head of Devin Haney Promotions, taking on Ryan Garcia in our pay-per-view main event a little bit later on.
Borgaro just switched to the right-hand stance. Let's see if this changes things. He's like, I got to get past that jab.
Actually, I think it's not serving him well. That's why he switched right back.
He just can't seem to, close the distance.
Canal very much a part of the growing Devin Haney story, guys. We've talked about his evolution now to becoming a bona fide ticket seller, a draw in the sport of boxing. And part of Haney's story as well is how he's crafted his career, using social media to build himself up to this point, and now having his own promotional company. Obviously, he's not the first fighter to ever do that, but it's notable that he's now at a level where he has legitimate prospects beneath him.
Absolutely. Right. When you think about Amari Jones and what the potential that he has as a fighter, and Canal as well, he's developing very well. I mean, he's taking it serious. He takes these guys under the wing, trains, spars with them. It's not just like, hey, I'm a promoter. He's really promoting and bringing guys up.
Now close friends with Amari Jones. It was in part because of Amari Jones that he hopped into this stable. And Pedro Borgaro hopping back up after a beautiful right hand down the pipe from Shamar Canal.
And he gave him his props, Corey. He looked up and said, okay, you got me.
Lots of time for Canal to work with. Borgaro trying to shake that one off. But Canal has found the shot he's looking for.
Looks so much better at this weight class.
Yeah, Canal still being cautious, waiting for his shots, not being greedy.
Now being warned for a shot behind the head.
Definitely wasn't his fault. Borgaro put his head down.
Trying to counter off the ropes. Still smiling back at Canal. He wants this kind of action. I don't think he wants to eat too many more of those right hands. There was one. Landed sharp right down the middle once more, and another from Canal.
Seems like he can't get the left hook off properly. It's almost like a jab type left hook. It's not in position for the left, but the right hand is landing beautifully. Little showboat. Getting comfortable in there.
Big round for Shamar Canal, who scores the first knockdown of the fight. As we take a look in his corner as Bill Haney in action for the first time here tonight. The first fight and the last fight of the night.
Connect. Oh, perfectly timed counterpunch by Shamar. And down goes Borgaro. And he even had to give him, okay, good shot.
Exactly.
So here we go with round 4. We'll see if Shamar Canal can build upon a big round 3, putting Pedro Borgaro on the canvas for the first time in this fight. And guys, understandably, we're talking a lot about Shamar Canal. He is the prospect that lots of people are excited about, but it's important to point out that this is a big moment for Pedro Borgaro, too. When he fought on the Spence Crawford undercard, reportedly, he was the first fighter from his municipality of Cajeme in Sonora to fight in Las Vegas since Orlando Salido. So even being here is still breaking barriers and breaking new ground for young fighters in his region.
Oh, definitely a win-win.
Hopefully he goes out swinging and not on the canvas and make a good name for his city. Seems like a decent young man, only 18 years old. Looks pretty good in there. He's just overmatched. with Canal. Speed and power.
Now just landing those right hands from every angle. You saw him landing it off the pivot. He's putting it to the body. Of course, that snappy right hand that floored Borgaro.
I like the head moving both. Pedro's doing now.
Look how this young 18-year-old man cuts off the ring. I mean, it's beautiful. I'd like to see him throw a couple of more feints, you know, to try and work himself in, because he's not trying to jab himself in there.
Anyway, he has potential. I like some of his movements. You know, his bounce. He just has to be able to match that with the offense, and he hasn't been able to do that, to your point, Parag.
Yeah, but you know those guys in the gym that have the great movement, but it doesn't translate well in the fight?
Oh, he's won 7 fights, so he has something, but you got a guy in Canal that has blazing right hand and is landing all night.
Borgaro only 2 wins over fighters with winning records. One was over a fighter who was 1-0. The other over the 25-22 Martin Cordona, who currently is on a very tragic streak of 13 knockout losses in his last 14 fights.
Where does Corey get this information from?
I texted him that earlier today.
Final 30 seconds here of round 4. Got to hand it to Borgaro. He did recover well from that knockdown. A much quieter round here in round 4. And you're right, guys. I think you can see Borgaro thinking about the openings, thinking about the right things to do. He just cannot find a way to get to the inside.
And not pulling the trigger.
Right, and he's tentative because he's getting countered.
Still game out there, making an attempt. I swear, when you talk about young faces, I mean, he has to have one of the youngest looking faces in the sport of boxing. He's younger than my son. He's 15.
Round 5 underway. Shamar Canal and Pedro Borgaro opening things up for us here at the Barclays Center. Everything leading up to our DAZN pay-per-view main event. The WBC super lightweight title on the line. Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia. We kick things off with one of Haney's own prospects. We'll also see Amari Jones on the prelim portion of our broadcast as well. We'll be taking on Armel Mbumba. And nice little uppercut there from Borgaro.
Oh, yeah. Good timing on that.
I have a feeling that Bill Haney wants Shamar to turn it up a little bit, sit down on his punches a little bit more. I feel that he thinks he can get him out of there.
Has about a round and a half to do it. But Borgaro is still game, still trying to land a big shot. And he just did.
Well, this is interesting matchmaking too, guys. This is something you often see early in fighters' careers where you take them out of the amateurs. Sometimes they'll get some easy wins. Then you're pitting them against some veterans, some older guys to give them a physical test, some more mature physical bodies in there. But now you give him a guy around his own age. You know, the types of fighters that he was facing in the amateurs. You test him this way.
Yes.
And Canal, obviously, passing this test with flying colors.
Absolutely. It's the way you bring a fight up.
This reminds me of Titus Williams versus Chris Colbert, two young prospects, you know, facing each other when you're thinking that normally they'd wait 5 years later.
Well, I think that...
hard right hand right down the pipe, and Borgaro grabs a hold immediately.
He's hurt, obviously. Of course, Canal wants to get that knockout percentage up.
Smart man, Borgaro grabbing.
I think it's the smart approach to test these fighters early before getting a big opportunity and not being ready for it.
And now certainly turning up the heat in this round, investing to the body and just walking Borgaro down. It's giving Borgaro more opportunities, but at the same time, he's having to pay a heavy tax.
Great work from both guys actually in that exchange.
Body shot again there from Canal. Final 15 seconds of this round.
Now with Shamar cutting off the ring.
You got to hand it to Borgaro for his recuperative abilities in this fight. There was a hard knockdown that he shook off. Looked like he was hurt. He was definitely hurt in this round, but still back, firing back with that uppercut. He gets the last word in that round.
Let's not count him out. Exactly, and not count a left hand. Shamar is just the boss in this straight right, just right down the middle.
Canal wants to go to 8-0 with 5 knockouts. He's going to have to turn it up in his last round.
Yeah.
Sixth and final round of what has been a spirited opener here between Shamar Canal and Pedro Borgaro. Borgaro, the 18-year-old from Ciudad Obregón.
Ooh, I like the way Corey said that town there.
Like the roll of the tongue there.
I like it.
I spend a lot of time in Mexico these days.
I think if Canal would have used his jab way more, that right hand would land even more so. Good work by Canal. To be honest, I see a lot of progression from the last time he was out in the summer.
Good right hand again there from Canal. I agree, Ak. I think you see the progression. I also think you very obviously see the reference points of working with Devin Haney. Some of the things he's doing look familiar. You know, the way that he throws the right hand as he's rolling to the right, the way he's pawing with the jab. It's clear he's spending a lot of time in the gym with Devin, and some of those things are rubbing off.
Yeah, definitely rubbing off for sure. And I think it was a great decision for him to move up in weight class. He looks a lot stronger and less strained. A lot stronger.
The defense on the inside there from Canal. Ducking under a couple of shots, parrying the lead jab, catching that hook with the right hand as well.
This is the most agile I've seen Shamar Canal. You know, maybe that's something to do with the Devin Haney influence as well.
And that right hand straying a little bit low for the referee's liking. As we enter the final minute of this contest, that didn't deter Canal from going right back downstairs to the body, though.
I like that the young man Canal is still trying to get the knockout, even though it's the last round.
That was a dangerous right hand that he just missed with a moment ago, punching with Borgaro.
Looked like the right that put him down. It's a good straight right to the body, too.
It's like he doesn't get the knockout today, but really solid performance. Shamar Canal.
Nice to see another fighter coming out of upstate New York, obviously an area rich in boxing history. From the Boxing Hall of Fame to the Catskills and so many legendary training camps out there. Shamar Canal the next in line to come out of Albany, New York. And it looks like he will improve to 8-0 here tonight as he kicks things off for us here at the Barclays Center. Well, coming up on Saturday, May 18th, it is the big one, the one we've all been waiting for. Tyson Fury, Alexander Usyk, the heavyweight title on the line, live on DAZN worldwide. As the Barclays Center begins to fill up here, as we get ready for our main event a little bit later on.
Say the Devin Haney squad is pleased with Canal's performance today.
Oh, 100%. And I just don't want Borgara to get discouraged. I like what I saw in there. He was just in there with a better caliber of fighter, but I think there's a lot to work with this young kid. He's 18 years old. It's just sad that you got to get these losses so young.
Well, and Borgaro, I mean, he's a great illustration of how unfair the boxing business can be a little bit. You have an 18-year-old who clearly has a little bit of talent. He doesn't get moved in the same way. He has to take the tough fights like this. He has to go on the road. There are a lot of examples like this, guys, of guys that if they had been moved differently, they could be 20-0 too, right? That's just the reality of the sport.
Right. Sometimes, though, also, it's a journey where it makes you tougher and you gain a lot of experience. Later on down the line, he might have 3 or 4 losses, but might be the guy to give a champ some real trouble down the line.
He gave a good night of work to Shamar Canal here tonight, and we are ready to make this one official. Let's send it up to Joe Martinez. So Shamar Canal does indeed remain undefeated, improving to 8-0 with 4 knockouts. The score 70-53 across the board. And obviously a dominant performance for Canal, but as we mentioned, still a valiant effort from Borgaro. And you know, you'd like to see Borgaro maybe get some opportunities to grow himself and not just be thrown in there to test prospects like Shamar Canal over and over.
I mean, look, maybe he made a case for himself where a manager, promoter in this country says, okay, this kid has a lot of potential. Let's try to help him out and move him the right way.
So we are off and running here from the Barclays Center. Shamar Canal picking up a victory as he sets the table for his stablemate, Amari Jones, who we'll see a little bit later on. We are rolling right along here on the prelims as Eric Robles makes his way to the ring with a record of 9-3, 8 of those wins coming by way of knockout. We last saw him in October in Plant City, Florida, getting stopped by El Tijuanero Mateo Tapia, the cult favorite. And the assignments don't get a whole lot easier for him here tonight as he'll be taking on Kevin Newman II. So the second coming, Kevin Newman II makes his way to the ring. Of course, with his trainer, the legendary Roy Jones Jr. It's funny, guys, back in 2018, Kevin Newman did an interview where he was asked who his dream opponent would be, and he said either James Toney or a prime Roy Jones Jr. And 2 years after that, Roy Jones Jr. signed on to become his lead trainer. This is the guy who's been under the learning tree of both Floyd Mayweather and Roy Jones now at this point in his career.
Well, that's how you attract a legend. You say, I wish I could fight you.
It doesn't get better than that. You know, both of these guys are 32 years old, Corey, but one guy has 5 years experience, the other 13.
All right, we are ready for the action. Let's send it back up to Joe Martinez. We're ready to go for our second contest of the prelims, and some weight allowances being made here, guys. This one being fought at cruiserweight. Kevin Newman II, realistically, a super middleweight, if not a middleweight. He fought just above the middleweight limit last time out, but as happens in undercard fights sometimes, you get a little loose with the weight limit.
Somebody's a little undisciplined. I'm willing to guess. Are you willing to guess who it is?
Are you testing my journalistic integrity? Looks like.
For those wondering, Robles is no relation to popular trainer Manny Robles.
Well, unfortunately for Kevin Newman, he has to have the tassels cut off, guys. That's heartbreaking.
That's his whole look. That was the vibe. How could they do that?
Oh, man.
Is that a new rule in the commission in
Fighting
New York
over
City?
fashion.
Are no tassels allowed here in New York City?
Well, it's just clashing. It's clashing with everything else, you know?
What?
It doesn't match the ref's outfit. It just doesn't work.
I mean, Hector Camacho had tassels on every portion of his body, I feel like.
Everywhere.
And so did Metal Paez.
He had tassels on his gloves.
Round one underway. Kevin Newman II, one of the proteges of Roy Jones Jr., and automatically you could just see in the stance, in the cadence,
yes, exactly.
You know what Roy's been showing him.
Exactly.
Might not bounce the same without those tassels. I don't know.
No, it just made him lighter. He's faster now. Look, he holds his hands exactly the way Roy Jones does.
Saw Newman scoring an 8-round unanimous decision over Kilito Madera in August of last year on the Jake Paul-Nate Diaz undercard.
So did Jean Pascal and Chris Eubank Jr. when training with Roy. They all were emulating him.
No, but I think this was a style that Newman had for a while.
Yeah.
You know, and he's just perfecting it with working with Roy.
And Newman's talked about getting connected with Roy Jones Jr. and how Roy basically broke him down to his parts and rebuilt him as a fighter. So you do see, even though I think you're right, Brock, it was a style that he was probably toying with. He was completely rebuilt and molded in the palms of Roy Jones Jr.
Well, we're working with a 4-fight win streak, so let's see.
Robles, we mentioned, coming off a stoppage loss last October. By day, he works at a taco stand called Mariscos Palabanda in his hometown of Tijuana. balances that with his career as a pro boxer.
It's like he might be eating too many of those tacos in the truck.
Wow.
See Newman trying to go downstairs to the body with that right hand a moment ago.
Body attack, but still not at the distance that he would want to be in to have some leverage on those shots.
I was about to say, did Robles know that he came here to fight? Because
hasn't thrown him a significant punch yet. Has about 12 fights, but
you see all of these kind of stylistic quirks from Roy Jones Jr. The parrying with the backhand, leaving that right hand extended. You know, the cadence in his feet.
The thing with that is you have to have Roy Jones athleticism to be able to execute that style. And Newman does have athleticism for sure. Maybe not Roy Jones' speed, but.
Well, I like the way Newman just threw the jab, and then he parried with the right hand the jab from Eric Robles. So he's definitely mimicking Roy, but no one in the world will ever have Roy's speed.
No. I mean, prime Roy is probably as fast as you've ever seen. Not too quick getting inside the ring now. He lost that speed.
So there's that right hand extended like Roy, a la Roy, you know. Those shots didn't connect too much, but the body shots did.
No leverage on those body shots, just tapping.
You got to wonder if Roy thinks that Newman is being a little too patient.
I mean, fighting a guy like Robles here who's not engaged in too much in offense, there should be a little more pressing by Newman.
100%.
Round two begins. And as you would expect from his trainer, Roy Jones, been very high on Newman. And he did say he feels that he has the athleticism to pull off this style. He said that with a few technical adjustments, Newman could be anything he wants to be.
Oh, nice counterpunch.
A nice right hand over the top there from Newman, and now he brings it right down the middle.
I'm just looking for Newman to follow up those 1-2s with what? The left hook.
Left hook.
You know, left, and maybe 3 or 4.
Maybe double the right hand up, too. That's a shot that's effective from this stance, especially with a guy like Robles right now who is standing in front of him.
Robles said that some of his friends and some of the people in his life, they've questioned his sanity for staying in the sport, for balancing work all day long with going to the gym for 3 hours a day. But he said the sport has given me joys, it's given me sorrows, but I just don't know how to give up.
Well, look, we just saw it last night. Dakota Linga, who's a police officer, wouldn't give it up, and it paid off last night.
Did it ever? An upset victory over Kurt Scooby on Overtime Boxing on DAZN last night in Atlanta.
You know what I'm seeing here? I'm seeing a sparring match between Newman and Robles, because Robles is not offering anything. Newman is pot-shotting, doing a couple of combinations, and not trying to finish the guy. Like, the guy is not giving you anything back. Jump on him. I don't know what he's waiting for.
This is the perfect opportunity.
I mean, I like his style. I like his defense. I like what he's doing, but he's not jumping on him.
He's maybe overly relaxed here right now. He's so in control that he's not stepping on the pedal.
Yes. I mean, typically, a guy is a little cautious when there's fire coming back his way, but you don't have that in this situation, so we need to see a little bit more.
I can only say maybe he came into this fight saying, you know what, I need some rounds. I need to work on some things. You know, but that doesn't sit right with us.
I never believed when fighters say that. They can get a guy out of there. They would do it anytime. Every time. Yeah, those shots have no mustard on them.
Just missing with that uppercut was Kevin Newman.
Yeah.
And if perhaps he's waiting just for a highlight reel knockout,
exactly.
then, you know, that it would be forgivable if it comes, right?
That's exactly what I'm convinced he's just working on these Roy Jones nuances, you know,
He almost
and
got hit
he's
with a
waiting
right
for
hand.
one to really hit.
Yeah, I mean, Robles finally threw a big right hand, but missed.
Final moments here of round 2. And Robles lets go of another right hand. It's notable because there just haven't been that many of them from Robles in this fight.
Indeed.
I think Robles' corner is saying, okay, this round, punch.
I think I heard that in Spanish. I don't know.
Newman's very methodical.
I need to get to the bottom of this tassel thing here in New York, Corey. I don't know. I don't like it.
Obviously, that's a rule. Section 1,
like
paragraph 3, no tassels.
Come on,
you should have read that.
This is the stage, the opportunity for you to express yourself fashion-wise.
No, it's a fight.
Round 3 begins. Kevin Newman the second coming. Taking on Eric Robles in cruiserweight action. And as we mentioned, Kevin Newman the second, realistically 168-pounder, but staying busy here tonight. Obviously some allowances being made here for Eric Robles.
I think Newman heard Barack over here.
Well, you think he turned it up a little bit?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if he doesn't get the knockout and he goes back, what do you think Roy tells him? Huh?
That's a good question.
We got the rounds that we needed, or you should have stepped on the gas sooner?
At this point in his career, you know, he's coming off a winning streak, but with 3 losses, it's time to turn up, so to speak. Stop. Guys that you're supposed to stop, they should not.
That's what I was waiting to hear. That's what I was waiting to hear. Guys you're supposed to stop, you stop them. And not to say that he can even be stopped. Yes, he can, because he's been stopped once.
Here you go. That's your own question. And listen, if you're going to be one of the forces to be reckoned with in this division, you got to stop a guy like Robles. Sorry, no disrespect.
Well, Newman II really has kind of a second chance in his career, a rebirth, if you will, after getting out of his contract or being let go of his contract from Mayweather Promotions, leaving that stable in 2020. Then you get the Roy Jones endorsement. You basically get to do it all over again, right? I'm sure there were some people that wrote Newman off entirely. Now he gets that second chance, and he has a good platform to make a little noise here tonight.
Absolutely. And look, he has the skill and ability. I see the potential there, but sometimes you need your foot on the gas more. And that's the only thing that's lacking right now.
I mean, you would think that the guy's losing the way we're talking about him. I mean,
no,
we
we're
like
just
you, Newman.
expecting so much of him. That's all. Definitely winning every second of every round. Let's make that clear for those just joining us.
Good shot there from Newman. I think that one might have affected Robles, who grabs a hold now. About 40 seconds remaining here in round 3, but time will be called here as Robles complaining about a shot behind the head. The referee agrees with that assessment.
Accidental. I think Robles just looking for a little bit of time, but those shots can be very dangerous. So the ref has to take it seriously.
Another chopping right hand from Newman a moment ago. And you see Robles.
Still complaining behind the head shot. Nothing intentional.
Big sweeping right there from Newman. He tries to find a route to the body on the inside here. Trying to bump Robles off and make some room.
Good right hand. And a little sweat dropped on Barack's nice vest over here.
Newman turned it up this round. That 1-2 got in there nice. And I think it was that right hand that changed Robles and made him start complaining more because he's looking for a way out. Because that back of the head shot grazed him and didn't really hit him that flush.
Maybe Roy is telling him what you were screaming here on the broadcast.
Your shots, right?
Yes, sir. He has turned it up a notch.
Round 4 begins. The 6th-round affair between Kevin Newman II and Eric Robles. But guys, in looking at the replay, it was obviously a clean right hand that buzzed Robles in that sequence, but then when Newman followed up, he did hit him behind the head, and that obviously caused the break in the action. And down goes Robles after a shoe shine flurry on the inside, and Robles still gesturing to the back of his head. And Barack,
I'm sorry for laughing. I don't like to take that lightly. But it just doesn't look like he was really hit that flush in the back of the head.
He wasn't. I didn't see it on that exchange there.
Brock, you suggested that maybe Robles was looking for a way out of this fight, and that might be the door. If he wasn't fully committed to going the distance here tonight, to walk out of it. As Robles tumbles to the mat once more.
I don't mind the push because it tells me that Newman means business now. He wants to get this guy out of here.
Yeah, that's against the rules, pushing it, right, buddy? Good jab. Wow. Okay.
Oh.
Wait,
Let's firing back to the body.
I think Newman has the right idea. It needs to sit down on those shots, though, to really hurt this young man. Good
body shot there.
Trying to be fast and in and out is taken away from his power. Roy Jones with the hands somewhat behind his back.
I think he should go more. Okay.
Oh, hard shot again.
That was not.
And that will just be waved off immediately.
That looked like more so on the side of the head to me.
No, that was on the side. It was not. It was on the face. It was not behind the head, that shot.
Waved off immediately, and that will do it.
Behind the head, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. 153 TKO. 153 TKO.
We hear Roy saying it clearly, not behind the head.
Let's take a look at it here. We'll get a closer look.
Punch landed. Boom. Side of the head. Legal shot.
Yeah, absolutely a legal shot.
Can't find fault in that shot right there. And the ref knew that, and he knows what Robles is trying to do, and he said, that's it. You don't want to fight anymore. You gave up. Great
call by the ref. I love when a ref can read between the lines.
Benji is stepping.
Well, coming up on Saturday, May the 4th, Canelo Alvarez and Jaime Munguia will finally do battle. This is the fight that Munguia has been dreaming about since he turned pro, and it will come to fruition live on DAZN pay-per-view Saturday, May 4th from Las Vegas, Nevada. So Kevin Newman II staying busy here at the Barclays Center, and we're ready to make this one official. Let's send it up to Joe Martinez.
Ladies and gentlemen, officially 1 minute 53 seconds round number 4. Representing the hall to the fight for winner by TKO, the second kind, Kevin
Well, Kevin Newman II improves to a 16-3-1. An easy victory over Eric Robles here tonight. See his trainer, Roy Jones Jr. Very confident in Newman's chances at making a run in the super middleweight division again tonight's fight at cruiserweight, but we'll ultimately see Newman the second back down at 168 or maybe even at middleweight. An easy night for Kevin Newman. A bit of an awkward outing, guys. You know, when you're in a situation like that, you're Kevin Newman, you have a guy like Eric Robles who, you know, we're not going to say he didn't try in that fight. Obviously, he stepped in the ring. He deserves respect for doing that, but wasn't throwing a lot of punches, wasn't presenting any kind of a challenge for Newman in this fight.
Well, I'll say he wasn't really trying once he got in the ring. He tried getting it there, but didn't do much after.
No, I think Robles came to get a paycheck, but he wasn't really trying to win. But I think I'm just convinced that Newman really came to get rounds and then took him out whenever he was ready.
All right, we're ready for our next contest. Let's send it back up to Joe Martinez. In the Democratic Republic of the Congo, now making his home in Germany. 2 fights ago, we saw him here on DAZN on the Ben Dobson undercard in Las Vegas when he was knocked out by Ammo Williams. More recently, though, in fact, 17 days ago, he fought to a 10-round draw against Sumbu Nasai in Germany. So, Mbumba, no ring rust whatsoever as he steps into the ring to test a hot prospect in Amari Jones. Middleweight prospect Amari Jones has been a fixture on Devin Haney undercards throughout his young career, and he has done nothing but impress. 10 knockouts in his 11 victories. Most recently, that 5th round KO over Calisto Madera in December of last year on the Haney Prograis undercard. He said, all I'm looking to do is make statements. Looking for another one here tonight.
Let's go, gentlemen. Let's go, Rico. Let's go, Rico. Let's go, Rico. Oh, you're too small. Good evening, gentlemen. Before we see the rules early tonight, I expect a good, clean fight. Touch gloves. Good luck to the both of you.
Hard-hitting Amari Jones back in action here tonight as he takes on Armel Mbumba. Amari Jones, part of the Devin Haney stable. You see Bill Haney in his corner. And we talked about this off the top of the show too, guys. Again, I think this is just another indication of the clout that Devin Haney has in the boxing industry now, because if you're making a list of the most exciting prospects in boxing today, Amari Jones is probably on that list, and he's underneath the Devin Haney umbrella. This is a guy that probably would have made the U.S. Olympic team. He was ranked #1 in the United States in 2 different weight classes as an amateur, and he's with Devin Haney.
If you catch the eye of the undisputed lightweight champion and the guy who went up to 140 and beat the scariest guy in Regis Prograis, you got to be good.
Well, look, Devin is obviously taking it serious. He wants to have, you know, once he's long gone, have fighters doing well and winning titles. Not just starting a promotion company just to say I'm a promoter, like many fighters.
I like Amari's jab. It's so fast and so sharp.
I like his trunks, Barack. I like the leather little strip.
Oh, wait. Those are tassels. We got to cut them.
Good fashion statement here.
Good hard jab from Amari Jones already.
And Boo has a high guard, but Amari is so precise, he gets right through it.
He was jogging in those mountains in Nevada with Devin, putting in those miles. I'd like to imagine he'll be in shape to go 8 rounds with no issues.
As we mentioned, Mbumba certainly in shape, having fought 17 days ago, and also with a fight on the schedule for May 4th on his promoter and boxing gym's 10th anniversary card, No Limit Boxing. So obviously that's contingent upon what happens here tonight, but he's hoping to get back in the ring immediately.
I hate when I see that, because that says opponent to me when I see that. I don't like that.
Activity there from Mbumba. Nice left hook to the body.
Well, he's here to fight. Definitely not another Robles in it.
Mbumba has an excellent left hook to the body. We saw him score a wicked body shot knockout over Roland Hammer in Germany back in 2022. And you saw him uncork that same shot. It's his main weapon, but he just ran, I think, into the lead foot of Amari Jones.
And a little headbutt up when he was going down.
A little bit of that.
I'd love to see that replay.
We'll get a chance to after this round, Brock. It comes out of it.
Lead uppercut there from Amari Jones a moment ago. See the versatility with that lead hand. Looking off the jab and finding his own left hook to the body is Amari Jones. Good way to close out round 1.
Yes,
sharp.
Eyes open, very alert. Amari Jones, that is.
All right, let's take a look at this replay, guys. Let's see what happened as Mbumba goes to the canvas.
Okay, so it's not feet tangling. I think as Mbumba was going down, their heads clashed, and that put him down. He was ducking under, and their heads hit, and he fell.
Round 2 begins. This one's scheduled for 8 rounds. Technically in the super middleweight division, that being because Mbumba weighed in at 160.4. He did take this fight on 3 weeks' notice.
Like you said, Corey, in very good shape.
But I don't think 0.4 is going to make him fat.
Oh, I see some glitter just
from Amari shorts, yeah.
And we're worried about the tassels, but glitter is just spraying us here ringside.
Yes. You know, I feel like Omari still hasn't unleashed his arsenal now. He's getting the distance with his jab, getting comfortable in the pocket. I think we're about to see an offensive display coming soon.
I think Amari wants a stoppage by body shot.
Yeah, he has been really leaning in to those left hooks to the body. And listen, guys, fighters will never admit that this is the case, but it's certainly the case in the eyes of the fan base. Amari's probably looked at Mbumba's fight against Ammo Williams, saw Ammo knock Mbumba basically out of the ring, and he knows that there's going to be some comparisons. Even though he's not quite at the same stage of his career as Ammo Williams, there is that litmus test.
Exactly.
Nice counter to the body there from Jones.
These guys watch each other, especially in the same divisions. And Amari, speaking of, Ammo Williams switches to southpaw.
This is something that Jones can do. When he started boxing, he was just a conventional orthodox fighter, and then he started experimenting with the southpaw stance. And in his words, he started kind of modeling himself after Errol Spence a little bit. As an orthodox fighter, he started borrowing a little more from Roy Jones Jr.
I think
his more like Terrence Crawford right here to me.
Hard shot, but that one is way low.
Keep it a little up. It was here, right here, borderline. Go. Borderline. Go stay in the corner.
I was saying, I think Amari's right hook is even more vicious than his left hook.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I mentioned Terrence Crawford.
Mbumba not taking much of that allotted 5-minute break. Amari Jones showing off his offensive arsenal as a southpaw. And that's a big key right there, guys. Sometimes when guys switch stances, it's clear that their footwork isn't the same. I'm not seeing that really from Amari Jones. I don't see him laboring in the footwork department.
Exactly. You still get the angles. You still get the same angles from Amari Jones because he can fight perfectly from both sides.
It's a guy you can call a real switch hitter, right?
Absolutely.
There's only a handful in the sport today that you can say they're comfortable. Terrence Crawford is probably on top of that list.
Andre Durrell was on that list.
Moose Ennis is another one.
100%. I mean, like you said, Mbumba's here to fight. Had a little 1-2 of his own, but that shot was a little low. And Jones is contesting it a little bit. Nah, come on, it wasn't that low. It was on the cup.
Check it out. Let's go in that corner, gentlemen.
Round 3 underway as Amari Jones just goes ahead and starts the round as a southpaw. No switching necessary this time. And understandably so. He was doing some of his best work of the fight, maybe his best work of the fight as a lefty.
I think the hardest shots are coming from this stance.
I actually like him better in a southpaw stance in this fight.
Switch back to orthodox. You know, sometimes when your lead hand is your dominant hand, you know, you got a stronger jab, stronger left hook, kind of like Cotto, kind of like De La Hoya.
Mbumba doing some decent work here on the inside. You saw a left hook connect on the inside. There's another one. Amari Jones willing to engage in this as he steps back and lands a nice scoop uppercut, and now goes to the body as well as Amari Jones really digs that left hook in.
Mbumba complaining about back of the head shots, but he's bent over.
Triple left hook. And then a couple right hands, and Mbumba looks like he might be staggered right now as he grabs a hold.
10 knockouts out of his 11 wins, Corey, and he wants to.
Nice shot there from Mbumba. He is going down swinging, if indeed he is going down.
For sure.
Nice bounce back shot there from Mbumba.
Yeah, I think he was dazed momentarily, but he got his composure.
Another good shot landed.
We saw Mbumba take a lot of flush shots from Emma Williams in that fight. And certainly showed that overall he has a pretty sturdy chin, but at a certain point, when you're in there with a puncher and you're eating flush shots, your body just gives way.
Absolutely, and you go down.
Nice sneaky uppercut by Jones, yeah. Who's the bigger man in this fight? For sure. Looks heavier handed.
Oh. Excellent work on the inside there from Amari Jones, landing to the body, pivoting.
Good display of boxing here tonight by Jones.
Gentlemen, we have 5 more rounds left of this. How much can Mbumba take? I mean, especially those body shots.
Are you saying you don't see this fight going in distance, Barack?
I don't know. I mean, I just can't see him taking those body shots too much longer.
Can't say I disagree with you. You know that doesn't happen often.
Triple left hook by Amari Jones, followed by a right uppercut and a right hook. 2 right hooks. And this is where Mbumba was dazed, but he was able to hold on and regain his composure. Mbumba's a live dog, because that was that sneaky uppercut by him.
Well, in between rounds, off camera, we just saw the referee go to Mbumba's corner and probably thinking exactly what you guys are thinking. He asked, like, hey, does he want to continue? The corner shoved him off pretty quickly, but obviously the official starting to see some of these patterns and starting to have some concern about the dominance that Mbumba is undergoing here from Amari Jones as round 4 begins. Last round you pointed out the strength, the physicality of Amari Jones, especially on the inside, bumping Mbumba off. And remember, this is a guy who was a football player in high school who went to the boxing gym just to stay in shape and then realized, oh, I'm pretty good at this too.
Right. Still signs of a linebacker there.
Hard body shot, a right hook to the body there from Amari Jones, but credit to Mbumba, comes right back with a straight right hand.
Reminds me of Brandon Adams' body shot landed yesterday.
If you haven't seen that one, Brandon Adams with the left hook to the body that had Ishmael Villarreal down for about 5 minutes or so.
Very rare case in body shots, yeah.
Vicious body shot.
Amari Jones looking for a highlight reel knockout of his own. Nice, crisp left hand there from Amari Jones.
I can't see too much more of this, Corey, going on. Not with Arthur McKenzie Jr. He's actually wearing that around his arm to commemorate a fallen police officer in New York City, paying homage.
What hasn't been just the shots that have been landing that have been impressive and no doubt frustrating for Mbumba. It's not just the punishment he's taking, it's the way that Amari Jones is moving too. He's pivoting around him, he's spinning him, he's basically doing whatever he wants, with the exception of a few shots here and there from Mbumba that are enough to keep him in this fight.
Right. I think he's tailor-made. I think Mbumba is just tailor-made for Amari Jones, because though he's taking a lot of shots, he only has one game plan: go forward.
You're fighting a guy who knows how to answer that with a good jab and countering. I wonder what that back pocket is for in those leather trunks, Barack.
You keep talking about the trunks.
Is that for your mouthpiece?
Right? What are you carrying into the ring?
Well, 10 seconds of round 4 as Amari Jones just continuing to pepper Armel Mbumba with shots. Triple left hook again.
I got a feeling the doctor's going to head back to the corner again.
McKinney asked the doctor to take a close look at Mbumba. He's taking a lot of shots that round. This was an onslaught by Amari Jones in this round. Beautiful body shot, right hand by Amari Jones.
Really like what I'm seeing from him overall.
Seconds out.
I'll make a prediction that this fight ends this round.
And if it doesn't end, probably body shot.
Time. Stop.
Or the ref stopping it.
The ringside physicians are going to have a look at Armel Mbumba right now.
What up, Joe? How much time? Give them time to rest. Let's go. Okay?
All right, they will determine that Mbumba can continue. The fight will resume. Round 5 now underway. Amari Jones utterly dominant here tonight at the Barclays Center against a tough and credible opponent. I think it's important to bring that context back, guys, because Amari Jones is making this look very easy. But this is a 10-1-1 fighter. This is a guy who, you know, had aspirations as a prospect himself not that long ago.
People need to know that I'm glad you're pointing that out, Corey, because when a guy makes it look that easy, you know, the casual fan assumes that you're fighting a soft touch, and that's not the case tonight. Amari's just that good right now.
Again, doubling up on that right hook to the body.
I love to see young men invest to the body as much as Amari Jones is.
That's it.
In addition to obviously being underneath the Devin Haney banner, he's been doing a lot of the things that Haney did to build his career, just going from camp to camp with guys like J. Rock Williams and Shane Mosley Jr. and Mario Barrios and Joshua Boazzi. Just testing himself in sparring against contenders when he was an even younger prospect learning on the job.
That's a great lineup, and it's proven today.
I see big things from Amari.
He's really trying to get the stoppage right.
Beautiful counter there from Jones. Rolling underneath, popping up with that right hand, now digging to the body on the inside.
Very comfortable in that line of fire.
I was going to say, everything looks very casual from Amari right now.
Yeah.
And not in a bad way, by any means.
Just comfortable. It's comfortable.
Cavalier.
That's it.
But he does it with power. Guys, I don't think people are talking enough about Amari Jones as one of the hottest prospects in boxing, and I think we need to start changing that narrative.
Oh.
Amari said earlier on this year that 160-pound division has been a little quiet for the last little while, but he intends to wake it up. Certainly well on his way to getting up there with some of the bigger names in the division over the next couple of years.
I mean, when you have a tough fighter like Mbumba, just because he can take all of these shots, does that mean we should let him continue taking these shots?
Great point, Barack. I mean, that's why we have these ringside physicians to help make those decisions.
Beautiful left hook by Amari Jones, followed by another one, and 2 hard body shots. Mixing it up, straight jab, missed with the right hand, but came back with that left hook. Oh, beautiful uppercut. Followed by a straight right. This is a methodical beatdown, and I'm just waiting for someone to say, okay, Mbumba's had enough.
Okay.
So quick check once again from the ringside physicians. Armel Mbumba back out there and just get blasted by a right hand from Amari Jones.
After a while, the shots, you just can't take it. You just can't keep taking the same shots.
Well, if Amari Jones was hunting for a highlight reel knockout, he'll have a golden opportunity to find one right now. He has a wounded man in front of him and an eternity to work with here in the 6th round. And that is a compassionate stoppage. It's not the one maybe that Amari wanted for the Instagram reel, but it was probably the right decision, guys.
100%, Corey. Great stoppage by a very experienced veteran referee.
And no argument for Mbumba, and no argument for me.
Very vicious sports we love, folks, and we have to pay attention.
Show some compassion, absolutely.
Well, if you haven't seen Amari Jones before, I'm sure that was quite the eye-opening performance as we take a look back at that knockdown.
Here's how the stop. It was the counter right that did it. Boom.
Grazed left.
It's the shot that you're not really ready for that hurts the most, and that's what happened.
Great pull back there.
Pull, counter, puts him down. And the ref was already thinking that he's taking too many shots already, so he gave him one more chance.
Another dominant performance from Amari Jones. We're ready to make it official. Let's send it back up to Joe Martinez. To 12-0 with 11 knockouts, and he could not have made that much more impressive than he did. He couldn't have made it look much easier either, guys. And again, this is a very credible opponent. He was in there with, this is a guy who was in there with Ammo Williams 2 fights ago, or literally earlier this year. Amari Jones just absolutely mauled him here tonight.
Okay, so now the question is, this is his 3rd 8-round bout. Is he ready for those 10-rounders? Is he ready to step it up, former champion or something like that?
I would say so.
We're looking forward to seeing Amari Jones back in the ring. And we are looking forward to this one. Juan Francisco Estrada and Bam Rodriguez. June 29th. Brock, I mean, you're just laughing at how good this fight. I mean, it's an outrageously good fight, guys. If you're a boxing hardcore, this is your Super Bowl.
Yes, yes. Estrada's a legend, pound for pound type of guy. And then you just got Bam Bam is just, he's a future great Hall of Fame.
All right, we are ready for our next contest here from the Barclays Center. Let's get it back up to Joe.
Super lightweights make their way to the ring. First up, from North Carolina, here is Marcus Bowes.
Marcus Bowes makes his way to the ring. The 29-year-old from Roxborough, North Carolina, fought less than a month ago, dropping a 4-round unanimous decision to Jeffrey Young in Barboursville, West Virginia. That was on March 23rd of this year. So when he got the call on relatively short notice to step in for this fight, he was ripped and ready, but he'll have a tough night ahead of him against Johnny Cañas.
Hey, next to make his way to the ring, fighting out of the red corner from Santa Ana, California, the undefeated Jonathan Cañas.
Johnny Kanyas, one of the young prospects in the Golden Boy stable, a guy seemingly with a lot of natural talent. Only 13 amateur fights, but after just 8 amateur fights, he was already in the USA Elite Amateur Tournament. So this is a guy who grew up quickly in the amateurs and is still in the early stages of his pro career.
And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. 4 rounds is bout scheduled in the super lightweight division. Introducing to you first, fighting out of the blue corner. Tonight, he wears blue trunks trimmed in white and black. Weighing in officially 140 pounds even, he enters the ring tonight for the 8th time as a professional from Roxborough, North Carolina. Here is Marcus Bowes. And across the ring, his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, wearing green trimmed in white. He weighed in officially 137.5 pounds, and in 3 bouts, this young professional stands perfect with 3 victories, no defeats, 2 wins coming by way of knockout. Here's the undefeated super lightweight from Santa Ana, California, Jonathan Sugarcane Kanyas. And your referee in charge of the action is Harvey Perez.
Bring them out. All right, boxers, you received your instructions earlier. As a reminder, obey my commands at all times. Protect yourself at all times. Touch them up. Good luck.
The super lightweight action here between Johnny Kanyas and Marcus Bowes, 2 guys whose lives have drastically changed as a result of the sport of boxing. Kanyas was a union carpenter hanging drywall in Los Angeles. His dad was his boss. His 18th birthday was his first day on the job site, but as Beto Duran told us before the fight, he was watching Ryan Garcia, Luke Campbell one day, went back to his dad and said, I want to box. I don't think I want to do this anymore. That job might be there for me later, but I want to give it a go as a boxer. In terms of Marcus Bowes, it's important that we give light to programs like this, guys. He's a part of the Rumble in the Rocks program in Roxborough, a group aimed at combating gun violence through boxing participation. So 2 guys who have drastically changed their lives as a result of the squared circle.
I love how great our sport is. And you know, Corey, you mentioned the very little fights that Kanya has, and I kind of like this new wave of fighters that aren't fighting tons of amateur fights and leaving some for their pro career, not leaving it all in the amateurs.
Marcus Bowes swinging wildly with that left hook a moment ago. He's certainly going for it here in the opening round.
Kanya looks so seasoned, and you would think he had an extensive amateur.
Kanyas coming back relatively quickly after that first-round knockout win over Kamiko Hall on the Zerto Gulamirian undercard. Wanted to be even more active this year. He was scheduled for a couple of Golden Boy undercards, but those fights fell through. Nice to see him back on a major undercard here tonight.
All right, I'm here. Good.
He wants to fight 5 times this year if he can get them in. And if he keeps scoring first-round knockouts, that's more and more possible. Hard left hook to the body there from Kanyas.
Well, Bowes has to give him something to work with instead of just backing away.
It's a young...
He's throwing his shoulder more than he's throwing punches.
I noticed that. There goes a little something there, Barack. A little overhand right.
Okay.
Making an attempt. Overmatched tonight. Kanyas very comfortable in there, stalking. Almost smothering himself, though, getting too close and not getting the right distance. And that's why the jab is so important in this sport.
I think that's also Bowes stepping in as well, going under and like stepping under his punches. He just tried to swat a punch.
Overhand right from Kanyas a moment ago grazed off the shoulder of Bowes, but seemed to land in a glancing fashion for the final 15 seconds of round 1. Kanyas, close friends with Alexis Rocha, of course, key member of the Golden Boy stable as well. Misses over the top with one final right hand. And that'll do it for round one. Nice shot from Bose right at the bell.
Bose is literally walking directly to him with no head movement and no defense whatsoever.
Right there, Bose was complaining about hitting back of the head, and protect yourself at all times. Lucky that those shots didn't land flush by Kanyas.
Round two underway. Johnny Kanyas. You mentioned obviously his friendship with Alexis Rocha, also trained by Hector Lopez at the TKO boxing gym in Santa Ana. So that means he's been in the ring with everyone from Rocha, of course, to Ronnie Rios, of course, Luis Neri, Raymond Murataya, and many others.
Great work in that gym.
And again, supplementing what was a truncated amateur career, just going a different path to learning the sport.
Absolutely. More rounds in the gym, less in amateur tournaments.
Yeah, but you wonder if a fighter is comfortable under the lights, and I don't see anything telling me that Kanyas is not comfortable.
Exactly. Hey, there's a fighter by the name of Tito Trinidad who didn't have an extensive amateur career. We all saw what he did with his career.
No, never heard of it.
I hear he's pretty popular around here. I mean, I heard that.
Yeah, he's okay.
I don't know.
Shot there from Johnny Kanyas. Marcus Bose, well, he didn't have a particularly long amateur career either. Only scored his first amateur victory in August of 2021.
Wow.
And hopped into the pros.
The next day?
It might have been the very next day.
Doesn't look like he, no. Oh,
nice hard shot there from Kanyas. Bose has been under the lights, so to speak, a couple times. Made a couple televised appearances to this point. In 2022 against Charlie Sheehy on ESPN. Again on Pro Box against Mandeep Jagbra. But unfortunately, he was stopped in both of those fights. So looking for a better result here tonight.
Corey might have called all of those fights. He's everywhere.
This left hook there from Kanyas, leaping in with that shot.
Oh, good.
Hard right hand over the top as well.
Kanyas still not in the right distance to be able to land these body shots. He's doing it from too far. The right hand is landing, but the other shots not in the right position. He's walking in.
That was very, very low from Kanyas, and the reaction from Marcus Bose, very understandable.
You know,
no acting in that.
I'm going to be honest, Corey. You know, I've been hit with a cup before. More than not.
Somebody hit you with a cup?
No, I fought 75 amateur fights, and I sparred hundreds of rounds. Sometimes it doesn't hurt as much in these fighters act in the ring. I'm telling you, I'm being honest.
No, that was low. That was low. That's when the cup rams into your private parts, bro. That hurt.
No, around it. Doesn't hit the actual part.
Yeah. Just, good to go? All right, here we go. The whole groin area hurts when it gets hit, no matter what.
Look, you're a martial artist. You got kicked there. It's different, right?
Look at Marcus Bose. A little bit fired up after that low blow. Oh, hard left hook from Kanyas. And Marcus Bose was on wobbly legs. I think holding on to Kanyas might have kept him up. But look at Bose still firing back here in the closing moments of round two.
That left hook definitely shook up Bose. great combination by Kanyas here. Right to the, where Ox says the cup. It doesn't hurt. That was almost his thigh. That was very, very low. Come on up. That's the combination I was looking for. 2 left hooks. The first left hook was very flush. Put Bowes on shaky legs. Stay there. You right? Okay.
I'll be Doc making sure Bowes is okay to continue.
I mean, I gotta say, credit to Marcus Bowes. He's not skipping leg day. Not only did he absorb that shot to the thigh and you know, continue on with the fight, he had to basically do a pistol squat to stay up on his feet after that left hook. What a shot from Johnny Kanyas.
Running back legs. Good counter. Awkward style, jumping in with those shots.
Yeah, and very wide with his shots as well.
Lost 5 straight since starting his career 2-0.
This must be tough. Starting 2-0 and losing 5 straight. At what point do you say, okay?
I think what happens then is you get more and more of these calls.
Yeah.
Tougher assignments, less notice. But Marcus Bowes, again, one of those guys that will say yes to those calls. And
Bills have to get paid, Corey.
well, and more than that, you know, we talked about this in a different context last night with Dakota Linger, but the sport of boxing doesn't function without fighters like this.
Yes.
Someone has to test prospects. Someone has to be on the other side. Someone has to take these risks.
Right.
Credit to Marcus Bowes for stepping in here tonight.
Respect to the journeyman, especially the journeyman that does this. Yeah. Beautiful left hook. You know, don't just come down here to lay down.
I mean, look, that's a great conversation, guys, because Corey's right. I mean, everybody is not going to be a prospect, and everybody's not going to be, very few are going to become world champions.
Well, in the case of Johnny Kanyas, again, we mentioned he's had a couple of fights already this year pulled because opponents dropped out. He was staring down the barrel of another one happening, and then in steps Marcus Bowes, who's giving him some quality rounds here.
Respect.
In other words, you fight fans need to respect these fighters more so.
Let him go, hands free.
Inside the final minute here of round 3 as Kanyas just misses that check left hook.
A fellow by the name of Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. also became middleweight champion of the world with, I think, about 15 amateur fights.
How do you know these guys we've never heard of? Huh? Where do you come with these guys from? I don't know.
A few guys I've seen fight here and there.
Mentioned Alexis Rocha, the friend of Johnny Kanyas. It was Rocha who actually convinced Kanyas to come back to the boxing gym in addition to that inspiration after seeing Ryan Garcia. And of course, we'll see later on tonight in our main event.
Maybe we'll see a body shot.
Yeah, nice shot there.
I like Garcia Campbell, huh? Funny, we were at that fight and worked that broadcast.
As usual, Jonathan Kanyas just stalking his opponent, lands a straight right, and gives him a left to the body, and Bowes holds on and says, all right, listen, I had enough.
Touch gloves. Come on out. We got to touch. Go back. You got the mouthpiece? Here we go. Box.
Fourth and final round between Johnny Kanyas and Marcus Bowes. Here in the prelims ahead of Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia as Johnny Kanyas looking for his 3rd consecutive knockout. And he might have Marcus Bowes in a little bit of trouble right now.
I really think that it's what you said earlier. He has strong legs, Marcus Bowes, legs, and it's keeping him up because he just got hit with a flush right hand and should have went down. he's definitely in shape. I was expecting him to come out and just lay it all on the line in this last round.
Guys like Bowes, they just like to fight, Corey. They love being in the mix.
We know that Bowes can be vulnerable. We saw him knocked out in spectacular fashion by Charlie Sheehy. We mentioned that fight on ESPN in 2022. Good. Bowes again coming over the top of the right hand. Guys, assessing the matchmaking here, too, I think this is a pretty sensible matchup for Johnny Cañas at this stage in his career. Granted, he's only faced fighters with a losing record to this point in his career, and Marcus Bowes continues that trend. But with that truncated amateur career, there's still something for him to learn in fights like this for a fighter of his experience.
22 years old, doesn't have a crazy amount of experience. This is the steps you should take.
Has very little experience, Barack, and this is a great learning session here tonight.
I think that body shot just hurt Marcus Bowes there.
A couple of them might have. That one, the referee felt was a little bit low as Johnny Cañas dealing with a little abrasion outside of his left eye.
Little wall scar here tonight.
Right hand to the body there from Cañas, and he brings it up top. So we're inside the final minute of this contest.
Very good performance so far by the young lad.
Great comment right there.
Sharp right hand from Cañas. Guys, I'm really liking the way that Cañas is throwing that left hook to the body. I'm liking the velocity on that shot right now.
It's placed perfectly.
Step back. Good.
There it is again.
Nice work rate. Cañas not even breathing hard.
Good lead right hand.
Oh, look at Marcus Bowes again.
Once in a while, one of those shots.
Smacking Cañas with that left hook. And you see the mark on Cañas' face. You'll know that he was in a fight here tonight. Did he win every round? Absolutely. But Marcus Bowes gave him a good, honest day's work here tonight in Brooklyn.
That's how you have to.
Well, coming up on Saturday, May 4th, it is a gigantic fight here on DAZN. It is the return of Canelo Alvarez.
Canelo Alvarez. Jaime Munguía.
Canelo versus Munguía, live on DAZN, May 4th.
We're back live here at the Barclays Center. That's coming up, of course, on Saturday, May 4th, but we've got a mega fight coming up later on tonight. Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia. You see the QR code on your screen. You can scan that to order the pay-per-view here on DAZN. Pay-per-view portion of our broadcast will start at 8:00 p.m. Eastern Time. Still plenty of action on our prelims, though. Darius Fulgham will be in action coming up next, and then Sergey Derevyanchenko and Vaughn Alexander in the, so to speak, main event of our prelims. But right now, we're ready to make this fight official. Let's send it back up to Joe Martinez. Nice win for Johnny Cañas here in Brooklyn, going the distance with Marcus Bowes, snapping that two-fight knockout streak. But good experience, guys. Again, he had Bowes hurt a couple of times, but had to work through 4 rounds, got touched with a couple of shots as well. A good learning experience for Cañas here.
Especially from a kid that He didn't have many amateur fights, so I mean, he's learning on the job.
And in particular, Brock, I think we like that left hook. You know, we saw, you know, maybe some similarities that you mentioned to the way that Ryan Garcia threw that left hook to the body against Luke Campbell. We saw a similar approach in the way that he was throwing it here tonight.
Absolutely, different style. But this is what you do with this level of competition. You sharpen your tools, and that's what he did. He worked on every single punch in his tool shed.
All right, well, we're ready for our next contest. As mentioned, Darius Fulgham will be in action, another one of the young stars of the Golden Boy stable tonight, taking on Christian Olivas, one of the key trial horses that you tend to see on Golden Boy cards. He's tested a lot of good names over the years, and tonight, Darius Fulgham will be on the other side of the ring. We're ready to meet the fighters. Send it back up to Joe Martinez.
And fight fans, we are set to go on the next bout tonight. 8 rounds, this scheduled in the super middleweight division. And first to make his way to the ring, fighting out of the blue corner from Tijuana, Mexico, Christian Olivas.
Well, as I just mentioned, Christian Olivas, with a record of 22-10, is one of the go-to fighters that Golden Boy and its matchmakers use to test fighters. He might as well be a part of the Golden Boy taxi squad. In fact, 2 fights ago, Olivas was upset by Rowdy Montgomery on the Nery Venetian undercard. Olivas was supposed to face Aaron Silva that night. Silva dropped out, but Golden Boy honored their contract with Olivas by giving him that fight anyway. He didn't come out on top, but again, Olivas always there to give contenders and prospects a good fight.
And his opponent standing by to make his way to the red corner from Houston, Texas, here is Darius Fulgham.
So Darius Fulgham of Houston, Texas makes his way to the ring, 10-0 with 9 knockouts. Last time out, scored a 10-round majority decision over Alantez Fox. That was in January of this year. Fox, obviously a nightmare-style matchup, but Fulgham still persevered and got the victory in that fight. A totally different look for him here tonight, and more terrific exposure for a man that Golden Boy has high hopes for.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this bout is scheduled for 8 rounds, and it is for the WBA Continental USA Super Middleweight Championship. Introducing to you first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing blue trimmed in gold. He weighed in 167.5 pounds. This 32-fight veteran holds a professional record standing at 22 victories, 10 defeats, 19 big wins coming by way of knockout. Here's the challenger from Tijuana, Baja California, Mexico, Christian And across the ring, his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, wearing white trunks trimmed in orange and red. He weighed in 167.5 pounds. In 10 bouts, he stands perfect with 10 victories, no defeats, 9 wins coming by way of knockout. From Houston, Texas, here is the reigning, defending, undefeated WBA Continental USA Super Middleweight Champion, destined for greatness, DFG, Darius Fulgham! And your referee in charge of the action, Ricky Gonzalez.
Ya te di las reglas en el camerino. Protéjase todo el tiempo y obedeces mis órdenes todo el tiempo. Gave you the instructions in the dressing room. A good, clean fight. Protect yourselves at all times. Obey my commands at all times. Touch them up.
So we're ready to go with our next contest in the super middleweight division. As you heard, a regional title from the WBA also on the line. The WBA Continental USA super middleweight title. Of course, that means a little boost in the rankings for the winner of this contest. Darius Fulgham, DFG, one of the prize prospects in the Golden Boy stable right now. And Fulgham with a really impressive backstory as well. He's a licensed nurse in Texas with a degree from Prairie View A&M. In fact, the entire Fulgham family, all of them have degrees from HBCUs. Really one of the better spoken fighters that you'll ever talk to.
100%. He cares about education. I'm willing to bet that even if he starts making a whole lot of money, he'll still keep his nursing job.
It's a good paying job.
Fulgham, a decorated amateur. He was ranked #1 in the nation at heavyweight at one point, a national Golden Gloves winner. A winner at the 2020 U.S. Olympic team trials.
Lost some weight. Said, I'm going down in the weight class. Smart move by the young man. Good jab.
Yeah, 6 foot heavyweight, or 6'1" heavyweight. That would fly in the 50s. Probably not now. And you're looking up at 6'9".
Yeah.
Tyson Fury.
Now 6'1" super middleweight sounds really good.
Just don't tell Andy Ruiz.
I do think a statement needs to be made today.
Oh, nice.
Darius for sure.
Short uppercut there from Fulgham. Well, to your point, I think after that Alantez Fox, and again, it's a good victory. You have to deal with a lot when you're in there against Alantez Fox. Very few people look good against the Fox brothers, but I'm sure for Fulgham, he wants to kind of erase the memory of what was in some ways a frustrating night.
Well, and look, as you know, you're as good as your last fight, so in boxing, people will forget.
I think that was a good name, and I think it should have been scored a unanimous decision and not a majority draw. But it is what it is.
It's sneaky up.
His best night.
You know, this is the first round, so let's give Fulgham some time to get into a rhythm as he lands a nice 1-2.
Absolutely. This is what I call ring reconnaissance. You know, you're just surveying your opponent. You're seeing what works.
Nice little furry outfit by Fulgham today, as I'm observing everybody's fashion sense today.
No opposition from the commission on that one. Fur allowed, tassels not. Back pockets also allowed. That'll do it for round 1.
Fulgham touching Olivias with his jab. Like I said, ring reconnaissance. Short uppercut there, counter. And just controlling the pace with the jab.
Round 2 begins. Darius Fulgham and Christian Olivas. 8 rounds in the 168-pound division. Olivas had a couple of years off the sport a couple of years back after his fight against Shane Mosley Jr. And he again stepped in on short notice, stepped in for Jason Quigley to face Shane Mosley Jr. He was stopped in 5 rounds, and he suffered a lot of damage to his right eye in that fight, nerve damage that made him think he might not ever fight again. So I mean, even being in here and being as durable as he is maybe a medical miracle, guys.
Pretty remarkable.
Something that Darius Fulgham would probably be very impressed with.
He'll be able to nurse him after the win today.
I think he's giving him a pretty good checkup right now.
Nice left hook to the body there from Fulgham, who once described his style as wear and tear, just breaking my opponent down.
I wonder if Fulgham feels bad because he's a nurse and he's seen what some damaged patient.
That's a good point. How do you turn that empathy off when you go in the ring as a medical professional? Well, he's certainly doing it right now as he rips another left hook to the body.
Once the fight is over, he'll put his nurse hat back on.
Here's some chants in the crowd here at Barclays Center, which is starting to fill up. Some chants in DFG. Fulgham has a nice fan base in Texas.
Oh, the crowd was huge in Texas in one of his last fights.
Yeah,
we
were in attendance. Ryan Garcia Duarte.
Absolutely.
Another right hand to the body there from Fulgham, right along the belt line. And Olivas saying he's being pushed down. I mean, he has to be careful on that instant, guy. There was a shot to the body that landed and the glove touched the ground.
Yes.
Had the official seen it a different, I'm not saying it should have been a knockdown.
Right,
I'm saying
could have been
an official in a different position could see that the wrong way.
Right.
Ooh.
Nice shot there from Olivas. Pops up with a nice left hook. Fulgham just rocks his head back with a straight right hand.
Fulgham is not loading up with them shots. They're coming from right here, short distance. That's a good straight right.
Just posting with that left hand, lining him up for the right hand. Extra zip on these shots from DFG right now as he places one more right hand to the body. That'll do it for round two.
Sometimes you got to let an opponent get a little confidence, maybe get a shot off so you can be comfortable enough to be in an exchange so you can land big shots.
One-2-1 from Fulgham, pushes him up against the ropes. Fulgham's in total control of this fight here. But Olivas is not going out with punches of his own. Beautiful double jab right hand by Fulgham. And the referee is just tired of Fulgham always pushing Olivas down.
Round three begins. We'll see if Darius Fulgham can pick up where he left off at the end of round two. Really started to physically dominate Christian Olivas in that round. And guys, we mentioned Fulgham fighting at heavyweight in the amateurs and working his way back down. And you see this pattern sometimes. You think of guys that have been really physically strong and dominant. Guys like Beterbiev, who fought at a heavier weight in the amateurs. Sean Porter fought at a heavier weight. They get into the pros and work their way down through camps, but they maintain that same frame and that same physicality that they had when they were a larger fighter.
It's a good point. And, they're used to having to deal with heavier guys. It's almost like muscle memory. And usually they're stronger when they get into these weight classes they're at now.
Yeah, Sean Porter was an excellent example because he fought and beat Usyk in the amateurs. And if you think about it, he was barely hurt in his career until his last fight.
Well, if you want to hear more from Sean Porter, he'll be on the pay-per-view broadcast a little bit later on. And to do so, you can order on DAZN pay-per-view. Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia coming up later on. That pay-per-view broadcast starts at 8:00 p.m.
I would have missed that.
I see what you're saying. Fulgham shots, he's not sitting down on them. Those are arm punches. And I would think that he's under the pressure that, he has to get this guy out of here if he wants to be compared, like you said earlier, Corey. These guys compare themselves to other fighters and what you did against common opponents.
Yeah, it's almost his shoulders are squared up and it's just arms, man. He's not turning the waist. Like that was a good left hook where he turned it.
Well, even with what he's doing, guys, I mean, Olivas, who's a double tough guy, is looking very uncomfortable in there right now. The body language is not positive from Olivas, and more than that, you could see swelling in and around both eyes, and we mentioned the issues that he's had, serious problems, nerve damage in the face. And even with what Fulgham is doing right now, maybe not sitting down on all these shots, he's still busting this guy up.
And look, let's give him credit. He has 9 knockouts out of his 10 wins, so obviously he's a heavy hitter, not having to load up. Whatever he's doing, it's working.
Yeah, and some guys just have natural power. It's like the pitcher that can throw 100 but can casually just throw 95. You know, some people just have special power.
Yeah, indeed.
I agree.
Shot there from Fulgham, just a sweeping right hand. Pivots, gets out of the way, now back on the inside and doing damage to the body.
I think it's time for the ref to start wondering if Olivas is taking too many shots.
Great assessment.
I did not like the look of that offensive offering from Christian Olivas a moment ago. Looking a little bit unsteady right now as we head back into the corners.
Fulgham unloading with hooks and uppercuts. I believe this round is when Olivas really started to feel it. When a referee stays in your corner the whole break, he's paying attention to your mannerism to see if you should continue.
Doctor's taking a close look at Christian Olivas as well as round 4 begins. There he is, Fulgham. It sounds strange to say, but somewhat quietly, just doing a lot of damage here. Quick shoe shine combinations on the inside there from Fulgham. You're right, guys. I mean, Fulgham is not throwing his fastball right now, but he is busting Olivas up.
Maybe, you know, Barack mentioned earlier, some guys want to get rounds in, get some work in, even though I generally don't believe that if you can get a guy out of there. But it's durable right now.
And then sometimes you fall into a comfort zone of fighting.
And that is it. The referee will stop it. And you know, it came at a time when Olivas was throwing a shot, but ultimately this was a pattern that was not going to change.
Right.
Absolutely.
So a knockout victory for Darius Fulgham. Make it 10 knockouts in 11 fights for DFG.
Hey, he didn't have to hurt him badly and still got the knockout victory. That's the nurse in him.
Yeah. We're not going to always get the highlight reel knockout, and the fight is not going to always hit the mat. But when you're getting this many shots and you're not answering back, left hook was flush, the ref is just bound to step in. As we learned last night with the Kirk Scooby fight, you have to let your hand go. You cannot be on the ropes, not defending yourself.
Well, coming up on a Saturday, May 18th, it is the big one in Riyadh.
Live on DAZN worldwide, May 18th. The fight of the century. Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. Tyson Fury looks to reign as king of the division. But Alexander Usyk is undefeated and coming for the crown. For the first time in over 20 years, all the belts are on the line. Ring of Fire, live on DAZN worldwide, May 18th. Buy now at DAZN.com.
Hey, Devin Haney here, 2-division world champ. Up next is the fight of the year. Me knocking out Ryan Garcia. Let's make it happen. My quest for greatness never stops. It's coming up next. It's live on DAZN.
Once again at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, it's the start of our pay-per-view telecast. Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, you see the QR code on your screen. Get your camera out, scan that, and join us at 8 o'clock p.m. But right now, we're ready to make Darius Fulgham's 10th career knockout official as we send it back up to Joe Martinez. Darius Fulgham cruises to victory here tonight, getting the stoppage win over Christian Olivas. He made it look easy, guys, and you know, these are still learning fights for Darius Fulgham, and even though he didn't really have to throw his hardest stuff in this fight, I mean, perhaps the game plan was, hey, go in there, place your shots, worry about speed more than power. I'm just guessing here.
It worked.
if it was, it worked.
Maybe so, but like I was talking about muscle memory earlier, you want to go in there and not fight to the level of your opponent. You know, you want to do your best in every fight. And though it was effective, I think he could have done more. That's all.
Nevertheless, Darius Fulgham remains in the win column. And Fulgham, as we mentioned, a very impressive young man outside of the ring as well. And he'll have plenty of opportunities because of that backstory, the ability to market himself, the ability to speak as well. Fulgham, a guy that we're definitely excited to see more of. Guys, of course, our main event coming up a little bit later on. It's Haney, it's Garcia. There's been a lot of talk about what's been happening outside of the ring, the build-up to this fight, which frankly, one of the more memorable in recent years, I would say, when it comes to major fights. But inside the ring, this is still a fascinating style matchup, I think.
Absolutely, because you're thinking about, a lot of people are thinking about Devin Haney's last performance against Regis Prograis, who's a certain type of fighter. Not a lot of foot movement, short arms, not as fast as Ryan Garcia, and twitchy. So I think, though he looked dominant, he's fighting a different type of fighter than Ryan Garcia, so it's going to be a lot more competitive than the odds are showing.
I think it's like what you said earlier, you know, because of the antics are just taken away from what we actually have here. We have two of the best 140-pound fighters, and they're both coming off of great performances. Everybody's forgetting that because of some tweets that Ryan Garcia is doing.
A little bit more than some tweets, a lot of videos on Instagram. Yeah. Nevertheless, you're right. He's coming off a knockout victory, and Devin coming off a dominant performance. I wouldn't say people have forgotten about the Tank fight, but obviously he moved up in weight. He's a lot more comfortable at 140, though he didn't make 140 in this one. Maybe, I alluded to it earlier, maybe that's part of the strategy for him to come a lot heavier than Devin in there and be the stronger guy.
100% part of the strategy, but does that look like you're professional? You know, it's a bad look, but he's saying, I want to be comfortable.
Well, you got to scan that QR code if you want to find out what's going to happen. It's at the top left of your screen. That's our main card starting at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. But we've got one more fight on the prelims, and it could be an exciting one, guys, between Sergey Derevyanchenko, literally coming off of the fight of the year against Jaime Munguia, taking on Vaughn Alexander. We're ready to meet the fighters. Let's send it back up to Joe.
For over 20 years, he was one of the most influential promoters in the sport of boxing. He passed away last Thursday at the age of 79 while at home in South Florida. We actually put the ring aside as we told the final 10 counts of the bell in the memory Thank you for your challenge. God bless the family, and may he rest in peace.
Fitting tribute here at the Barclays Center, and we actually have a few more moments before our next contest between Sergey Derevyanchenko and Vaughn Alexander. So let's talk about it, guys. Derevyanchenko, a guy, as we mentioned, coming off the fight of the year as voted on by many outlets against Jaime Munguia, a fight that I was honored to call and of course be ringside for. Derevyanchenko is just one of boxing's ultimate hard luck cases. When you look at the Munguia fight, the Triple G fight, he's a guy who keeps getting these big fights and just has heartbreaking decisions not going his way for one reason or another. And now the question is there enough time for Derevyanchenko to reach the goals that he's been so painfully close to?
I'll even add the Daniel Jacob fight.
Sure,
that was
absolutely.
a very close fight, though I thought maybe Danny pulled it off. I think he's the type of guy that you can't count out, especially from what we saw against Munguia. But to your point, is it too much? Has he been in too many wars? I guess we'll find out.
I think he has to focus on not losing focus, because hard luck, because he gets knocked down. It's always a knockdown. There's the reason why he loses the fight. Literally, he wouldn't have won the fight against Munguia if it wasn't for the 12th round knockdown. And in the Triple G fight and Jacobs fight, he gets knocked down in the first round. So tough fights with top opposition, but he keeps coming up short.
Well, and it's heartbreak in even more painful ways. You think about that Munguia fight. Remember that there were negotiations to make that a 10-round fight. Derevyanchenko said, no, I want it to be a 12-round fight. That's what I signed for. I trained for 12 rounds. And that knockdown, when did it come? In the 12th round. Had that been a 10-round fight, Derevyanchenko, if memory serves, either wins the fight or walks away with a draw, right?
Might be fighting Canelo at May 4th instead of Munguia.
So Derevyanchenko taking on Vaughn Alexander in this fight, a guy who's been around the block. Again, one of these guys who tests everyone, always extremely durable. A guy who had a contract with Don King in like the early 2000s, and now still active and in a fight against Sergey Derevyanchenko coming up in just a few moments as we wait for those two fighters. But right now, we're going to take a look at the last two performances from both Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia as we get ready for our main event a little bit later on. Here, guys, I mean, this was just an absolute masterclass. Devin Haney against Regis Prograis. Not often are you going to see really a dismantling of an elite-level fighter quite like this.
I think the biggest mistake was Regis Prograis went into that fight saying, I can box just as good as Devin. But hardly anybody on this planet can box as good as Devin.
I think most thought that the fight would be a bit more competitive. That's why it stood out. That's why the dominance was highlighted, because we thought Regis would do more. But I guess that lends to how great Devin really is.
Well, and in the midst of everything that's been going on during this fight promotion, Barack, you mentioned Ryan Garcia coming off an impressive victory last time out against Oscar Duarte, as we take a look at some of those highlights as well. Garcia showing some adjustments. There was a period of time in that fight when you were probably thinking, why is he shoulder rolling like this? But you saw some new wrinkles in working with Derek James in this fight.
No, that was more like an elbow roll. That wasn't a shoulder roll. It was bad. It was bad. He knows that. That wasn't something that Derek James was showing him, but he stopped it. He started countering better, and he went on the offense, and he got him out of there.
And he was honest and candid about it. He said, look, I tried something that wasn't really working. I made adjustments, and that's what great fighters do. And he got the knockout victory that people expected.
So Haney and Garcia coming up a little bit later on. Arnold Barbosa also on the undercard, a guy who's been calling for those big names at 140 pounds for quite some time. He felt that he was in a position promotionally before. Again, this is how he felt, where he just couldn't get to some of those names, or it wouldn't be possible. Now, under the DAZN banner, he does have some options, and he's got to be happy about his placement on the card, kind of being positioned as a potential next opponent for the winner of that main event.
Co-main means you are next on the menu, hopefully, depending on your performance. And he was ready to step in, hoping that probably Ryan Garcia would pull out of the fight.
Yeah, I mean, look, to your point, this is a setup fight, right? But Barack, like you're saying, he has to shine. This is almost like an audition, right? The stage is set. It's going to be a packed crowd in here. And if he performs well, people would want to see that fight, especially the folks who are going to be in attendance.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point, too, for Barboza as a guy, you know, whether he was kind of unable to get those fights, the fans weren't kind of putting him in that position because they just didn't think a lot of those fights were possible. Now that they are, it does seem extra important for Barboza to turn in that type of performance now that those fights are possible, to say, oh, yeah, I mean, this is a guy we want in with some of those top names at 140.
Yeah, because we want to see knockouts. You know, I think if he puts his foot on the gas and get these guys out of here, then everybody's going to be clamoring for you to fight the top guys.
Yeah, because let's be honest. I mean, he has to compete with the big names in the sport at 140 that Devin or Ryan want. When you talk about Teofimo Lopez or maybe Tank coming up to 140, those are the big money fights people want. So in order for you to squeeze yourself in the mix, you have to look great in the ring.
So that's on our pay-per-view telecast coming up later on, starting at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Beck the Bully also on our pay-per-view undercard, as he'll be taking on Pierre Debambe. Beck the Bully, a guy who's looking to factor into the 168-pound division, a division that is red hot right now, not just because boxing's cash cow is at the top of it in Canelo Alvarez, but there's a growing list of young talent that hasn't been fully tested quite yet. And they're all kind of lingering there. And now with the departure of David Morrell up to 175 pounds, Beck the Bully sliding back in at 168. Maybe a name that we can't forget about there.
I'd like to say a lot of people are happy that Morrell has moved up to 175. It's such a killer that he
I wonder if Benavidez is happy. I want to see those two guys.
All right, guys, we are ready for our next contest. Sergey Derevyanchenko back in action. Let's send it back up to Joe Martinez. With a record of 18-10-1, a record that, again, doesn't tell the whole story, because this is a man who has essentially taken only tough assignments since he resumed his boxing career after coming out of prison and getting back inside the squared circle. One of the toughest men in his weight neighborhood is going to take on yet another tough assignment here in Brooklyn. Fresh off the fight of the year against Jaime Munguia last June, here comes Sergey Derevyanchenko. Derevyanchenko feels that he really won that fight. Again, he's been in that position many times in the past, still trying to get over that hump. And you know that there are a lot of fans rooting for this man to finally break through. He's looking to stay busy and get back in the win column here tonight.
In 19 professional bouts, his record stands at 14 victories, 5 defeats, with 10 wins coming by way of knockout. Here's the 3-time world title challenger from Brooklyn, New York, the Technical technician, Sergey Derevianchenko. Your referee in charge of the action is Steve Willis.
Okay, gentlemen, you both received instruction in the dressing room. I want you to obey the commands. Protect yourselves at all times. Right now, we're going to call on the letters here. We're going to call on the letters here. Tap it up. Let's go to work.
So here we go with the main event, so to speak, of our prelim broadcast. Sergey Derevianchenko, a former world title challenger, taking on Vaughn Alexander. 10 rounds in the super middleweight division. A division that somewhat recently Derevianchenko said he wasn't even all the way comfortable at, but seemingly seeing, as we talked about, some of those dollar signs in the 168-pound division, some of those names that are there. Still plenty of opportunities out there for Derevianchenko, provided he can stay in the win column here tonight.
Right. Call them out fashion police guys. I've never seen those boots right there. Those sneakers are boots.
I think what happens is Vaughn Alexander forgot to change into his boxing sneakers. And those are the sneakers he wore to the arena, because those don't even look good for lateral movement. We're going to see him like stumbling.
I like the trunks, fight. A la Floyd Mayweather.
See Alexander touching Derevianchenko to the body there a moment ago. The question for Alexander is, can he still be as durable as we've known him to be for the vast majority of his career? A couple of fights ago, we saw him stopped by a body shot against Ian Green, and there was a point in Alexander's career where it seemed like he was impervious to body shots. He could just shell up, you could rip him to the body, he wasn't going anywhere.
Right.
Is it possible that Father Time has finally caught up with him at the age of 38?
I think Father Time stripped him a little bit of his resistance, because he definitely was a tough guy, barely ever stopped, you know. But and you're in there with a tough guy as well that hurt Triple G to the body, you know. So it's going to be a tough night for him.
You and I talked about this the other night. I don't know that anyone's had Triple G that hurt. Even Canelo,
no,
with all due respect to Canelo,
no one.
Derevianchenko had Triple G more hurt and in more trouble than anyone else ever has.
Visibly hurt against Derevianchenko to the body.
It was a body shot.
Yes.
We've yet to see Triple G hurt to the head. Still a little dry. Derevianchenko hasn't broken a sweat yet.
Again, we don't know what was going on behind the curtain, but we do know there was a little bit of a delay on the ring walk, so it's possible that these two were kind of rushing to get ready and get into the ring. It could be.
I'm telling you what it is. He forgot his sneakers, and that's why he's wearing these sneakers. We'll find out later.
I mean, it's safe to say that Derevianchenko's last hurrah here to make a statement, to have his last run in the sport.
I agree.
About 30 seconds of the opening round. Somewhat slow start from Derevianchenko and Vaughn Alexander, but prior to the Munguia fight, Derevianchenko's trainer Andre Rozier was joking that he'd have a taser in his back pocket to make sure that Derevianchenko didn't start too hot, didn't gas himself out. So perhaps that's a part of the evolution, even at this stage in his career, of Sergey Derevianchenko, just taking his time here in round one.
Yeah. He's pacing himself here in the main event of the prelims, what I like to call.
Definitely a main event.
Round two underway. Sergey Derevianchenko and Vaughn Alexander. 10 rounds in the super middleweight division. As Derevianchenko trying to stay in the win column and perhaps set up some potential big fights that will still be on the table for him at 168, maybe at 160. He says he still believes he can get back down there.
I believe he'd be competitive at any weight, but I believe 160 is probably best for him because of his height. You know, we're looking at two 38-year-olds, but Derevianchenko got a lot more left in his tank compared to Vaughn Alexander.
Derevianchenko feels like one of those guys that's been around forever, but still only has a record of 14-5. You know, all the fights he's had, they've been tough fights, but
exactly.
In total, there really haven't been that many of them. Maybe because his amateur record was 390-20. You can only fight so many times.
As we talked about earlier, maybe not fighting so much in the amateurs. But yeah, that record doesn't reflect just his career when you think about the type of fights he's been in.
Yeah, came into the pros, at a higher age, but had a long amateur career. So he stepped it up much faster than other fighters. And I think Vaughn Alexander has the style that's going to, allow us to see Sergey, what he has in his tool shed.
For good reason, we think about Derevyanchenko as an all-action fighter. But again, going back to that amateur pedigree, this is a really gifted technical boxer, hence the nickname, the Technician. And one thing that his trainer, Andre Rozier, always talks about is that tight defensive circle that he keeps, where he could be in front of you. It looks like you're going to war, but really he's pivoting around you. He's swimming without getting wet, so to speak.
Exactly. That little step to the side puts him out of range, off of the line.
Jacob just touching Alexander to the body again, not putting everything behind those shots quite yet, just placing those shots. So we're inside the final 30 seconds of round 2.
This is another example of having an opponent in Vaughn Alexander that allows you to work on the things you need to work on for the better opponents.
Nice counter shots there from Vaughn Alexander, though, but Derevyanchenko puts a little more mustard on those shots. So that'll do it for round 2.
Starting to see little hints of vintage Derevyanchenko here. Getting into a rhythm, and maybe you alluded to that earlier, Corey, where they want him to pace himself a little bit more.
I love the way Derevyanchenko went to the body, then right upstairs with the jab. He's good 1, 2, 3. He's been shooting the jab and left hook a lot as well. Alexander, just like his brother Devin, when they were young, had one of the toughest chins in the sport.
As you mentioned, Barack Vaughn Alexander, the older brother of Devin Alexander, who actually is fighting next month in my wife's home province of Alberta. He's fighting up in Canada.
Is she promoting the fight?
No, I mean, she is a lawyer. I think she'd be qualified. Amanda, do you want to start promoting fights? If you're watching, let me know.
She better be watching.
She might not let you call him.
That's right. Round 3 underway. Sergey Derevyanchenko looking like he's picking things up a little bit here in round 3. And Ak, I think that was a good assessment you made in the last round. It looks like the cadence that Derevyanchenko had in the opening 2 rounds, it looks like a guy who wants to get a couple of rounds, and he's working on things, as you mentioned, Brock.
Are you guys seeing Derevyanchenko that is maybe showing 38 years old and maybe been in a few too many wars?
That's the other possibility in terms of what we're seeing, right? But I think it's early, and we'll see, once we hit round 5, round 6, if Derevyanchenko is still looking the way that he did in round 1, I think maybe you start asking those questions.
That's a very good question. I can't be sure, but I think I'm looking at this more like how Fulgham did in his fight, where he had somebody in front of him who wasn't a threat, so he didn't give his all.
As we say that, Derevyanchenko is just peppering Vaughn Alexander with right hands.
Flurry of punches here.
He said,
Alexander says, hey, it's nothing. He's eating those.
He's used to having a good chin, so he's used to walking forward and still getting hit by big shots.
And hey, don't get me wrong. I'm saying the 30-year-old version of Derevyanchenko, but that's still a dangerous fighter.
Absolutely.
See the footwork right here from Derevyanchenko, just masterful stuff.
Little nick there on his nose. Not sure if that came from a shot or a headbutt. This guy's been clinching Nice little left hook.
Yeah, that shot got Derevyanchenko's attention. Just a little short uppercut from Von Alexander. Got some excitement out of Alexander's corner a moment ago as well.
Little James Toney stance there with his hands.
You know, the pressure of Von Alexander is making Derevyanchenko work a little bit more. And maybe he's thinking he could tire him out.
Maybe that's the strategy. But Derevyanchenko is strong late in fights. So that might not be the best strategy.
That's the truth.
Against a guy like Derevyanchenko.
As we tend to see in Derevyanchenko fights, that scar tissue seems to have opened up once more. As you pointed out, Doc, a little dribble of blood coming off the bridge of the nose of Derevyanchenko right now as he paws away at it, but brings the right hand over the top. And a nice shot on Von Alexander.
Good spin off the ropes there. Good boxing. The Andre Rozier school of boxing.
You see Derevyanchenko taking deep breaths because he had to really work in that round. The pressure was on him. These are all pity pats, but they're effective in his scoring shots. Not landing completely flush, but like I said, they're scoring shots. Good left hook. That was a flush shot.
Round 4 begins. Sergey Derevyanchenko and Von Alexander wrapping things up for us here on the prelim portion of tonight's broadcast. Our pay-per-view portion of the broadcast begins at 8:00 p.m. Eastern time, of course, concluding with our main event between Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia.
Excellent jab work by Derevyanchenko. To the bottom and to the top. Peppering him with the jab.
Is that about 6 jabs in a row? What, Derevyanchenko?
Maybe more. What type of performance will we need from Derevyanchenko in order for him to get maybe another big shot at another big fight?
I think for Derevyanchenko, just winning is probably enough because there are so many of those names that we brought up at 168 pounds. You know, whether it's Berlanga, whether it's Benavidez, whether it's Christian and Billy, guys, there are so many young, somewhat untested names that are looking for a guy like Derevyanchenko to bolster their resume.
Right, exactly, because he has a name. Because of his resume already, he has a name. Tough fights. Charlo was the only one that really beat him convincingly. And if they're looking at Derevyanchenko now and saying, well, maybe you're right, maybe it is, you know, 38-year-old Derevyanchenko legs, you know, so I'm going to put that name on my resume.
I like, look, Corey just mentioned Berlanga, and I know we got the Keep Conley issue here in management, but I like that fight for Berlanga. It's a
combination
good test.
On the inside there from Derevyanchenko. A nice uppercut, turns the corner. A 3-punch combination again. And Derevyanchenko, for as rugged as his fights are, it's a pretty style to watch, guys. The footwork, the activity. There aren't too many fighters in the sport that can replicate this style, and that, for me, is what makes Derevyanchenko fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think those 300-some-odd amateur fights that you mentioned have a lot to do. That experience, and that he has that type of style. I see him winning a lot of amateur fights with this style.
It almost looks like Alexander's getting stronger, you know? He's taking Derevyanchenko shots, and I think what's missing is that Derevyanchenko needs to go more to the body.
Slow him down. I wouldn't say he's getting stronger. He's just more comfortable taking those shots because he's walking towards them.
Alexander's corner warning.
It's still losing.
Keep your hands up. Maybe protecting to the body a little bit. Again, we mentioned last time we saw Alexander stopped, it was a body shot from Ian Green who took him out. That was 3 fights ago. Derevyanchenko just keeps peppering him with that jab. Vaughn Alexander still there, bringing the fight, still standing right in front of him.
This is what I was talking about, Ak, the aggressiveness of Alexander in that round. Those were two really good shots before Derevyanchenko turned it over.
Round 5 underway. Vaughn Alexander bringing the pressure here to kick off the round. Back in 2022, he went the 10-round distance with Christian and Billy, who right now I think a lot of people regard as one of the most dangerous super middleweights in the world today. Certainly one of the most TV-friendly fighters, regardless of weight class right now. And at that point in his career, and Billy was just steamrolling through everyone, and it was a matchup against Vaughn Alexander that finally was able to give him some quality rounds against a veteran.
Right. Very heavy puncher. Maybe not the most skillful. I would have loved to seen him against David Benavidez. I'm surprised, Ak, you haven't said anything about the ref's shoes.
I don't particularly like those.
I think he's going bowling directly after this.
Good work by Derevyanchenko. Staying busy in the middle of the ring, spinning off from his Alexander.
This is what Derevyanchenko just continues to be so good at, just methodically chopping you down. They're short shots. They look like they're not much, but there's so many of them, and they're so constant from so many different angles.
Chipping
away, and then really cranking it up like that.
But can he maintain that? Well, can he maintain that for 5 more rounds against a guy who's showing that he can take a shot? That's why I say go to the body.
Let's think about his last 4 or 5 fights. Can he maintain that? He gets strong as the fight goes usually.
You know, that's the second time you're right tonight. And the second time in your life.
I don't see Sergey fading. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Beautiful shot there from Derevyanchenko, and another right hand immediately behind it.
Hands are free. Workout. Hands are free.
Body shot by Alexander.
Oh, nice uppercut on the inside there from Vaughn Alexander. That one might have got Derevyanchenko's attention. It certainly excited the Alexander corner, but back comes Derevyanchenko. But Derevyanchenko just cannot be in a boring fight. He's impervious to it.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, look at that shot from Derevyanchenko. Sweeping left hook. And Vaughn Alexander just walks right through it.
Big reason why he's still in the mix in fighting tonight. Fan-friendly fighter. He's going to give you an entertaining fight every time.
Let's not take credit from Vaughn Alexander. It's his face that's giving us this.
He's also throwing, another uppercut.
Body shot there from Alexander, you're right. Dangerous shot from Alexander, scores right before the bell.
Pressure is on by Alexander, but Derevyanchenko came back with a beautiful combination. 2 double straight rights, right to Alexander's chin, but he seems to take it well. That one slid off of the shoulder, Alexander, but that jab and right cross landed. And Alexander shakes his head, nope, none of these are affecting me. 38 years old, but Alexander's not sitting down in between rounds, even though they're taking a stool out for him.
The notoriously durable Vaughn Alexander, living up to his reputation once again. He has absorbed some shots from Sergey Derevyanchenko, but again, every once in a while, comes back with shots like that. There was the uppercut to the body at the end of the last round, and then he opens this round with that leaping left hook.
Real dangerous in there at times. Ooh, another nice uppercut on the raised side of Derevyanchenko's face. But not busy enough to win these rounds, and you know, then you start to think, okay, does he want to just do enough to finish the fight, or is he trying to win?
I mean, Derevyanchenko has admitted, in his words, everyone is big for me at 168 pounds. Yes. He knows that he is very undersized for this division. And again, going back to how unique Derevyanchenko's skill is, usually when you see guys that are physically undersized for a division, they're built like Derevyanchenko, they're kind of that like bob and weave, pugnacious pressure fighter. Derevyanchenko has those gritty elements, but he also has, you know, the Ukrainian schooling footwork.
Yes.
And he's dancing around guys at this weight class. But because of that size differential, he also gets touched up a little bit.
Exactly. And I'm wondering if he can, you know, let his hands go the way he's doing. He's landing a lot of shots. He's looking clean, but he's also moving, just reminds me of Triple G Canelo 1. You know, where Canelo was landing good shots, but he was moving, and by the 5th, 6th round, he was tired.
Derevyanchenko just missing over the top of that right hand.
Because now, you know, Derevyanchenko's not sitting down on his shots. You know, he's doing arm punches because he has to punch so much. All of them can't be hard.
He's made up his mind that this is a strategy, and he'll rip when he has the opportunity to. But I think, you know, Corey mentioned earlier, Alexander, every once in a blue, he'll land a big shot.
There's the rip you're talking about.
It's right there. There's that right hand.
He's doing just enough. Derevyanchenko bleeding from the nose now.
Caused by a jab by Alexander.
A hard shot again to the body from Vaughn Alexander, but just getting peppered again and again. So Derevyanchenko, and against guys who aren't as durable as Vaughn Alexander, 6 rounds of this might have them bleeding, might have them cut. Vaughn Alexander, you can't hurt this guy.
Yeah, no. Barack might be right.
I'm telling you, pay attention. Pay attention. This guy is walking him down. He's letting his hands go a little bit more, Alexander. And I think Derevyanchenko's finding it hard to keep him off of him.
I mean, he's still winning big.
Winning rounds.
But there are shots that are being landed by Alexander that's making you think, is this going to start breaking Derevyanchenko down in a few rounds?
Definitely winning rounds. Derevyanchenko doing his best to keep Alexander off. Beautiful double left hook by Derevyanchenko. Pushes him off, says, give me some breathing room. And Alexander comes back in his face and eats a jab. Beautiful spin work by Derevyanchenko. Just controlling the fight, controlling the ring.
Be ready to go. You okay? You ready to fire the clinch? All right.
So round 7 begins. Sergey Derevyanchenko and Vaughn Alexander wrapping up our prelims here as we get set for the pay-per-view portion of our broadcast, headlined by Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia. And guys, as we've been talking about, I think, you know, almost all of these are fairly clear Derevyanchenko rounds, but Barack, I think your point is a good one. It's not an impossibility that Vaughn Alexander, who doesn't seem affected by any of these shots, who's moving forward, landing hard shots every once in a while, it's not an impossibility that one of these shots affects Derevyanchenko. I mean, again, he is admittedly an undersized 168, and we've seen him hurt in the past.
Right. Bloodied his nose from a jab. I did see Derevyanchenko just a few seconds ago throw a jab to the body, but then, you know, he stopped, and that's what I think he needs to do. I don't know if his corner's telling him that. Go to the body, slow him up, at least make him reset.
I'll tell you one thing, though. I don't see Sergey slowing down in terms of the volume of punches, the way he's moving with his footwork, and we're in round 7, and still no slowdown.
Yeah, the legs most certainly seem to be there, and that's really what you worry about when it comes to a 38-year-old. His punch resistance and do your feet look the same? And tonight, at least against Vaughn Alexander, they seem to for Derevyanchenko. Nice uppercut there from the technician.
I'd like to see him turn the hook right after that. Sergey hasn't went much to the body to maybe slow Alexander down from moving forward. A lot of headshots. 90% of the shots that he threw are to the head. Not too much body work. Maybe we need to start thinking about going to the body.
100%. I think if Vaughn let his hands go a little bit more, he'd be very, very dangerous right now.
This combination there from Derevyanchenko, but Vaughn Alexander just yells at his face. Just eats it and talks to him.
That means nothing if you're getting hit. I mean, Derevyanchenko is ripping shots to the face of Alexander. Though he's walking through him, he's losing every round.
Oh, I mean, those 2 left hooks were flush right on the chin. He should have dropped a normal human being.
Final 20 seconds of round 7 as Derevyanchenko just uncorking those hooks.
You know, we talk about his size in this division, Corey, but maybe his power's not holding up in this division because he hasn't hurt Alexander yet.
Nice shot there from Alexander. Again, every once in a while, an eye-catching shot from Vaughn Alexander. And that'll do it for round 7.
Alexander still doesn't want to sit down. He almost didn't want to go in his corner. Good right cross by Derevyanchenko. But Vaughn is on him and ate 2 left hooks. Complaining about Derevyanchenko pushing him off. Still eating these shots, lefts and rights.
Round 8 begins. Sergey Derevyanchenko and Vaughn Alexander, who takes a spill there.
Didn't I tell you about those sneakers? You see him slipping? No,
I mean, it did take until round 8.
Like he's going to play baseball in this.
Vaughn Alexander, a really remarkable comeback story, coming back after spending 11 years in prison, returning after a 12-year layoff. Guys, to put it into perspective, the era in which Alexander's pro career started, he made his debut on the undercard of Corey Spinks's first defense of his unified welterweight title against Zab Judah. He also appeared on the undercard of Roy Jones, Antonio Tarver II, and Felix Trinidad, Ricardo Mayorga at Madison Square Garden. This is a man who's been around a long time.
He just took it way back.
Way back.
That's a totally different era.
Wow. He's been around. The man's been around. I have to.
So are we looking at a fresh 38? Vaughn Alexander?
Yeah, you know, he took a long break, so that's why he can endure the shots that he's receiving now from Derevyanchenko. And
that's that signature Alexander chin.
Look, whoever's doing strength and conditioning for Sergey, kudos to them. The man is still in shape at this age, round 8, from a guy who is stalking him nonstop.
I mean, whoever's doing strength and conditioning for Vaughn Alexander, I'd like to check out with them too. I know he was in those tough Kevin Cunningham camps for many, many years.
Give me either guy so I can try to get a 6-pack, all right?
Your best bet is just
hard
going
body
to the
shot there from Vaughn Alexander. Sorry to cut you off there, bro.
That's all right.
Oh, look at that beautiful combination from Derevyanchenko. It's the intensity picking up here in round 8 with less than a minute left to go.
Barack, is your answer, is Derevyanchenko fading? No.
Definitely not.
Great.
But also, Alexander's not throwing shots. Like, it's been probably 30 seconds since he's thrown a shot. He's just putting his head on him.
I mean, look, we talked about it earlier, guys, and I know Alexander is throwing shots here and there, but how comfortable can a ref and a doctor be of him getting hit with that
down
shots?
goes Vaughn Alexander. We speculated about the body shots. And right on cue, Alexander in agony right now. Will he get back up to his feet? Alexander's corner assuring him that he's good. Derevyanchenko. A lot of time being wasted here.
That's Derevyanchenko's fault. Get in the neutral corner.
Derevyanchenko had an opportunity to maybe close the show there. A little bit too anxious.
Hey, I called it. Go to the body. Did I not say that earlier?
No,
going to the body.
I said that. You didn't say that.
Corey, who said that? I said he wasn't. He was eating all the shots.
Look, that's the body shot right there. The left hook that I've been saying all fight. When you got a guy that's got a strong beard like that, go to the body. One shot, one left hook to the body, put him down.
All I noticed throughout the fight that he was 90% of the shots were head shots. He wasn't going to the body. I'll take a wild guess that he's going to go to the body in the next round.
Hopefully.
I got to say, guys, if you didn't know that a knockdown happened in that round, one guy that just got knocked down to the body didn't sit down, waiting at center ring. Derevyanchenko, as he always seems to between rounds, is just in anguish, head to the sky. The end swell is out.
Breathing deeply.
Well, we'll see if Derevyanchenko can go back downstairs and maybe score a knockout here.
Okay, jab into the body.
Alexander just with those elbows tucked. The shell defense, but hands low, almost just inviting those headshots right now.
Right. Normally, you go to the head like Derevyanchenko just did, and it forces a fighter to put his hands up. But Alexander just eating the shot so easily. He's like, no, I'm just protecting this real estate down here.
Well, and guys, you know, looking back at it, there has been a little bit of a stylistic switch in Vaughn Alexander. Earlier in his career, it was a lot more squared up. The hands were a little bit higher,
hands were high.
Guard.
Exactly.
Then, as we mentioned a couple fights ago, he gets stopped to the body. Has he maybe changed his style a little bit? He knows he can take some of these headshots. It's the body shots he does not want.
Well said.
Could very well be the case. Oh, he's been watching a little too much James Toney.
Yeah, but James Toney cares about defense. He's slipping these shots.
Yeah, that's why he's making an attempt to the style.
3, 4, 5 punch combination there from Derevyanchenko.
No answer back.
His best bet, Derevyanchenko, is to punch with Alexander, because that's the only time that body is going to be open. Draw him in and let him throw a punch, and then sneak that left hook under one more time.
Well, and that's been Alexander's approach as well. His best moments in this fight have just been waiting for that perfect opportunity to punch with Derevyanchenko, usually to the body. Derevyanchenko just trying to create a little bit of room, trying to just parry that lead hand away, create some space where maybe he can get downstairs.
Oh, beautiful boxing.
I mean, look, it seems to me that Sergey wants to end this fight by knockout. I mean, he doesn't want to go the distance. He has around 30 seconds to do it. Does it happen? We'll see. Doesn't look like it the way Alexander's moving forward unless Sergey maybe goes back to the body where he's a bit tender.
Again, it is hard to find the body right now with how Alexander's walking forward, with where his elbows are, with where his hands are. Derevyanchenko is trying to find a way to create an opening because Alexander just is not going to give it to him.
Yeah, no, he has to exchange with him, throw with him in order to sneak that in there, because you're right, his defense to the body is really good. But leaves the head open often.
I don't know how Derevyanchenko's keeping his work rate up, but that was a 5-6 6-punch combination. Pushing Devin Alexander, pushing Vaughn Alexander back.
Final round. It has been a rugged one, as you would anticipate when you put Sergey Derevyanchenko and Vaughn Alexander in the ring together. Two hard men going at it here to conclude our prelim portion of the broadcast.
You know, as I'm thinking about the moments that Alexander had in the fight, big shots, has he won a round in this fight? Because I don't see it. I can't think of a round that he's done enough to win the round.
No, maybe he'll win the 11th round, but he hasn't won these rounds. You know, I think Derevyanchenko now knows what it feels like to fight himself. You know, a guy that just keeps coming. He's just not throwing a lot of punches, and that's the only thing.
I mean, was this enough for Alexander to get another opportunity?
I think so. I think for Alexander, if he goes the distance with Derevyanchenko, who was, you know, inches away from maybe beating Jaime Munguia, obviously a well-regarded fighter, you know, obviously Vaughn Alexander comes into these fights hoping he's going to win, but plan B is he wants to get another good assignment, another good payday, and he's shown that he can still be very durable. There are younger fighters who would very much benefit from this type of fight.
Yeah, you know, it amazes me because when he is offensive, I mean, he's very effective, and had he thrown more punches, I mean, how competitive would he be with anybody?
I think a guy with a style like this and a chin like that, if he threw more punches, can probably beat some of those younger guys just by overwhelming them.
Not sure if it's a conditioning thing or not wanting to be in a line of fire for that long and risk anything, but...
On Alexander, he'll pull those upsets off once in a while. He's lost 4 of his last 5, but the one win, that was an upset win over Brian Chavez, so he will pull them out. If you get a fighter that's not prepared to work for 10 rounds, you still will not beat this guy.
Right. Not against Sergey, not tonight.
Good body shot by Vaughn Alexander.
In on the final 30 seconds of this contest. Derevyanchenko hit Vaughn Alexander with absolutely everything. Vaughn Alexander made him work for 10 full rounds.
5-punch combination by Derevyanchenko right there in the 10th round. Wow.
And another one, a 4-punch combination. Seemingly most of those landing as well.
Wow.
5-punch.
Another 5-punch.
Truly one of the best chins in all of boxing. I don't think I'm going too far in saying that. On Alexander.
It's a safe statement.
Very, very tough competitor, in the words of Floyd Mayweather.
So So Sergey Derevyanchenko, we assume, will remain in the win column. And again, remains an interesting proposition for a lot of guys at 168, for 160 if he wants to go back down there. It's a marketable fight, and you know it's going to be an exciting fight as well.
Always a fight when Derevyanchenko is exciting. I really want to say respect to him tonight, because that was a beautiful performance, keeping this guy off of him and keeping that same work rate from the first round to the 10th.
Question about it, right?
We're going to take one more look back at this body shot knockdown that Vaughn Alexander was able to survive. That's a beautiful left hook to the body.
Just goes to show you how effective body shots. It was just an arm shot. He didn't even do much with it. Short left hook, but it hit the right spot.
And look, after that, he didn't actually go down quickly. He could have kept punching him, but he didn't.
All right, looks like we are ready to make this one official. Let's send it back up to our MC, Mr. Joe Martinez. Exciting in victory as he has been in his heartbreaking defeats. Derevyanchenko now improves to 15-5 with 10 knockouts, and he'll look ahead towards some potential big fights in this 168-pound division. Speaking of big fights, we have so many of them coming your way in the coming months, live here on DAZN.
Boxing is buzzing, and the best are ready to bump heads. Showcasing over 150 fights a year, DAZN is the only place to watch these warriors worldwide every weekend. Refinding his feet, Virgil Ortiz Jr. is itching to put the Latino heat on Thomas Delorme. This April 27th doubleheader also sees Jose Ramirez tackle Rancis Bartholomew. The temperature rises even further on May 4th as a magical mixture of Mexican machismo sees Canelo return against Jaime Munguia, a cool-headed compatriot seeking a sizable upset. Size matters as two big men create one huge occasion. An undisputed king will emerge on May 18th when Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk finally trade heavyweight leather. If you come for the king, you better not miss. A 5-versus-5 battle for bragging rights. Frank and Eddie send forth their stables to settle old scores. June 29th, Phoenix will rise for two men with their eyes on the prize as Bam Rodriguez and Juan Francisco Estrada show that size actually doesn't matter at all. Explosive contests, multiple champions, just one place to catch every punch.
Hey viewers, are you ready for a legendary fight? Devin Haney and myself fighting for the 140-pound welterweight championship of the world. There's a lot of history between us both and his daddy. There's been a lot of trash talk ahead of this, so it's about time I shut everybody up. It's coming up right now on DAZN.
Back live here at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. Corey Erdman, Ak, and Barak. We just concluded the prelim portion of our card with a victory from Sergey Derevyanchenko over the double tough Vaughn Alexander. Of course, coming up later on tonight is our main event between Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia. After all the madness, after all the controversy, finally, as Bernard Hopkins said at the press conference, we have a fight.
We definitely have a fight here, and I never thought it was going to be in question, even though people were saying, oh, I don't know if it should continue. Listen, these are antics of social media era. Yes, this is antics of the social media era. That's it. You make as much noise, you troll as much as you can, and maybe you even put some of your personal problems out there, and that's all it was. But in the ring, it's going to be a fight.
I never had any doubt that the fight would happen. Look, I know that a lot of attention has been given to what Ryan has been posting on social media. And again, there's a part of me that believes that he felt that this is going to do good as far as selling the fight, pay-per-view numbers, maybe distracting the opponent and the team, and the weight. That's the issue. All right, it was unprofessional not to make the weight, but maybe he's saying, I'm sacrificing some money, but I'm going to go into this fight as strong as possible and not the way I went into the
Didn't Floyd do that against Marquez purposely? He said, I'm coming in 146 pounds, I don't care.
Oh, for sure. Listen, guys have purposely missed weight before.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be the first time, if indeed that is what happens.
He's just admitting it, you know?
Right, and
pretty
listen,
expensive, too.
Giving Garcia the benefit of the doubt. We're assuming the best version of Ryan Garcia steps in the ring here tonight. For me, this is still a fascinating style matchup. I know Devin Haney is the betting favorite in this one, but the best version of Ryan Garcia for me against any 140-pounder is still a fight that I want to buy.
100%. And speaking of buying, Corey, I mean, that's another question in place right here. But both of these guys, do they gel well to be a success in terms of pay-per-view? We all know what Ryan did with Tank. Look, we all know what Devin did with Regis Pro, great, but these two guys together, with all the hoopla that's been going on social media, will that turn into numbers? And that's a big question that needs to be answered.
Well, stop listening to us and hit that QR code, and let's get those numbers up, because this is still the best guys at 140. And the winner of this probably fights, what, a Teofimo Lopez maybe or something like that?
Monstrous fight.
And become somebody will be a lineal champion?
Something that people are not mentioning, what if this fight is a very competitive fight? Is there a rematch clause in the contract? I'm not sure about the details, but what if we see a competitive close fight and we see it again? Nobody's mentioning that.
Well, a lot of questions left to be answered, but with the final word, the final sell on this pay-per-view, it goes to this man. Ak, you voiced the promo. Let's go to it.
As camp comes to a close, it's clear these fighters' orbits are expansive. But as April 20th approaches, the story comes back into focus, with Brooklyn serving as the final stage.
Oh yeah, we fought in amateurs multiple times, you know, and in the pros we're gonna get it on when the time is right.
You know, one guy that certainly has a history with you is the man to your left, also carrying a belt, Devin Haney.
Hey, hold up, I need a belt too. If he's a champ, I'm a champ, right?
I'm the champ. I'm the champ, and if he wants a real fight, he can fight me.
I should be champ, right? Hey, we're good fighters. Let's fight.
It's no real friends in boxing. It's a lonely sport. On April 20th, I will break Ryan Garcia.
Now, two men long tethered eye the rarest thing in boxing, a legitimate Game 7.
We're fighting for the 140-pound title, and I'm gonna grip that green belt off of Devin Haney if I have to, and I'm going to sacrifice everything I have in that ring. I gotta send him this message. I'm coming to you up.
And for anyone who hasn't heard, this one counts. Devin the Dream Haney has proven himself all over the world.
Devin the Dream Haney!
He's the one with a lot to lose. Triumph and his future becomes so bright it's blinding. Lose and begin to climb back.
Ryan Garcia is not on my level, and that's for me to prove.
King Ryan Garcia, in comparison, is the one with a lot to prove. Accomplished and thrilling, and a renowned celebrity isn't all that he wants. But to ascend even higher in his career, fame doesn't matter. Not now. Fists matter. The ones he promised for months to unleash on Haney's face.
They turned me into a monster. You just switched something in my brain. That's why with Devin, I'm not playing with him. Now when you step in the ring with me, I'm not scared to hurt you.
But Game 7s are always decisive, which means one man will prove and the other man will lose.
I think I'm King Kong, Superman, Godzilla, Spider-Man, all of them.
I am a bit of a maniac, and I'm kind of a little crazy. I don't know how he's gonna stop me.
But, as always, with these two, there's sure to be more to this story.
This is my only opportunity right now. To me, it feels like do or die moment.
We all fighting for something. And on April 20th, we're gonna see who wants it more.
I promise you, this is one to remember.